At the Okoli Law Group, we specialize in producing justice. If you or a loved one in the Atlanta metro area is facing serious criminal charges, then you need serious legal representation.
The Okoli Law Group is here for you. The Okoli Law Group is here for us.
The Okoli Law Group, serious legal representation.
Navigating through this spiritual journey is challenging. Healers need healers, trainers need trainers, and leaders need leaders too. If you're looking for a space that offers Reiki healing, emotional mastery, chakra healing, and even one-on-one spiritual consultation, visit us at todayswellness.com. Get all your spiritual needs met and just have someone you can actually talk to. Because whatever it is that you are seeking is also within you.
Ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí ṣe. Ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí ṣe. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ̀dá kún yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ̀dá kún yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀dá kún yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, lẹ́bàá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
Peace, family. We are live again. Dynasty Mirror Search for Huru. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining. Do me a favor. Please hit that like button again. Please hit that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I will greatly appreciate it. 1 second. Let me get out of that and jump into. There we go. There we go. Again, please like, share, subscribe. Get your mamas, your cousins, your aunties, get all your friends to come and join us. Before we get started, I got a couple of announcements. Announcement number one. All right, announcement number one. We are rolling to Zanzibar. Y'all, we going to Zanzibar next week. We rolling to Zanzibar next week. Well, actually, yeah, next Sunday. Next Sunday, not this Sunday. Well, week after next. I'm sorry. Yeah, that'll be technically the week after next. We are rolling to Zanzibar. If you want to join us, please visit Africa. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. Do I have any room? I don't have any room. So I take that back. But we're going to Benin. We're going to Benin Republic. Excuse me, January 3rd to the 12th. January 3rd to the 12th. We're going to Benin Republic for the Voodoo Festival. So if you want to join us in Benin Republic, please visit donfo.africa. Again, please visit donfo.africa to learn more. Again, please visit donfo.africa to learn more. We would love to have you. Marie, we're gonna start off with Rich Homie Quan because this is interesting. You know, I live here in Atlanta, and I really don't listen to I just remember the two he had. Like, I remember two songs from Rich Homie Quan. You know, the Type of Way, I know that song, and then the Lifestyle. You know, him and Young Thugger. You know, something the Lifestyle. Like, I remember those two songs. But he OD'd last week, and black men, we got to say no to drugs. Men in general, this is for everybody. This is for humanity. We got to say no to drugs. We got to stay off them drugs. All right. We got to stay off them drugs. 34 years old. You got to understand the amount of talent. You know, I'm thinking Jimi Hendrix, Basquiat. Sorry if I didn't pronounce his name right. I apologize. Rich homie Quan. I mean, there are a couple talented individuals whose lives were cut short because I mean, go work out, go hit the gym, you know, go get some ladies. I'm pretty sure they didn't have a shortage of women, but you know, it's just life is too precious. And if you go out, like if you're gonna go out prematurely, go out like being a hero. You know what I mean? Like going out because you OD'd. We gotta stay off them drugs. It's in the music. Cause I remember, you know, when I was coming up, listening to Dr. Dre and you know Snoop, you know, smoking weed, okay, whatever, smoke your tweed, smoke your weed. I haven't heard anybody that OD'd over weed, but now they're lacing the weed. So you got to be careful with the weed now. But now in the music, they talk about popping pills and doing this and doing that. You know, we turn into junkies. So we gotta stay off the dope, man. He had a beautiful family, and now he's gone. Age 34. I'm 42. I'm 42. I remember when I was 34. That was 8 years ago. You know, I was still working at Centos, but I can't. Yeah, drink some wine. Get your origin beer. But golly, man, ODing, come on. We got to stay off that dope. We got to stay off that dope. But let me get back to the announcement. So Benin Republic, January 3rd to the 12th, January 3rd to the 12th. Then we for sure be going to Sierra Leone in April of 2025. Hopefully we'll be going to Sierra Leone in November. Still waiting on the final green light. Which you know, we should be getting a green light, you know, any day now. Guys, give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Hold on, give me 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. I had an important message I had to get out there. So we'll find out about Sierra Leone any day now, like literally any day now. We had a meeting like 4 weeks ago with us and the tour operators and monuments and relics. And it seems like things are a go, but we're just waiting on the final word from the office of the president. So yeah, that could be any day now. So just I will definitely keep you guys posted. Y'all, if I'm a little bit tired, I started doing jiu-jitsu this week. Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Yeah, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I just started it this week. I started it Monday. And y'all, when I say my body is hurting, when I say I'm sore, goodness, man. Yeah. So I started that this week. And like I said, my body I'm sore. So this is day number 4. And you know, I've been rolling, I've been going at it. I am tired, Like, I am tired, but we got to keep it going. We have to keep it going. Let's jump into, so visit donfo.africa. Again, please visit donfo.africa to learn more. Let's jump into, I want to start off with, let's start off with Rich Homie Quan. Fair use, DJ academics. But yeah, these new details, it's not, the new details not about the case are adding up. So he OD'd, but it's very, very strange. Like the math. It's not adding. Shout out to DJ Academics.
Sorry, hold on. All right, so we do have Rich Homie Quan's death incident report, and this kind of tells us a lot, right? So this is the incident report about the death of Rich Homie Quan. What it tells us is the people that were involved, in the sense of, people that were at this house. By the way, I don't want to dox him or whatever the case is, but he lived in a big house. Apparently, not only his kids were there, not only his baby mama was there, but apparently his brother was there. Okay, so his brother was there, and I think it's the Quantes Lamar. I think, who's that? Is that his name? The Quantes Lamar. Yeah, that's his name. But then there's somebody else. I don't know if it's Andre or Theorus. No, I don't think it's hers. I think it's Andre. I think that's his brother. Regardless, let me read this incident report. It's going to give a little bit of detail, right? It says, on 9/5/2024 at approximately 11:29, and I guess this is in the morning, so 11:29 a.m., Officer Dorsal, Unit 2412, was dispatched to a call in regards to an injured person at the location of blah, blah, blah. He says, when I arrived, I made contact with Mrs. Amber Williams, who told me that at 6:45, which basically it's 5 hours before then, she woke up to bring the kids to school and noticed that her significant other was not in the bedroom. Miss Williams stated that she woke up and saw him asleep on the sofa. When she came back from dropping the kids off at school, she saw he was still sleeping. She then proceeded to the bedroom and fell asleep at approximately 11 hours, right? 1100 hours, which is 11 o'clock. She woke up to go check on him, and that was when she observed that his body was cold and called 911. The male was identified as Mr. DeQuantis Lamar with a birthday of whatever. While on scene, I did not observe any foul play. Mr. Lamar did not appear to be alert, conscious, or breathing. Miss Williams advised me that Mr. Lamar did not have any medical or underlying issues. Grady Bus 786 was on scene and transported him to the Grady Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased. I also spoke to Mr. Andre Munford, okay, which is the brother of the decedent. It says, who informed me that he woke up at approximately 3 a.m. and noticed that Mr. Lamar had fallen asleep on the floor near the kitchen counter.
Let me.
Mr. Mumford advised on the floor, through Munford, okay, which is the brother of the decedent. It says, who informed me that he woke up at approximately 3 a.m. and noticed that Mr. Lamar had fallen asleep on the floor near the kitchen counter. Mr. Mumford advised me that it was very unusual because he had food in his mouth. He lifted him.
All right, so I'm sorry. Let's finish this. This don't make sense. This don't add up.
Him up and put him on the sofa. I'm unable to get a statement from Mr. Fearless quick because he was in shock, but later was cooperative once homicide arrived on the scene.
All right, so he falls asleep on the kitchen floor with food in his mouth, and you just pick him up and put him on the couch. Yeah, this ain't adding up. Like, y'all, this doesn't make any sense. So you walk into the kitchen, 3:50 a.m. Somebody sleep on the kitchen floor with food in their mouth. And the first thing you think is, oh, let me just pick them up and put them on the couch. But who falls? So I'm thinking, like, maybe Rich Homie Quan is always geeked up like this, where he just falls asleep anywhere on the middle of the floor in the kitchen with food in his. Marie, I think you're a nurse. Like, maybe you could call in later, but this doesn't add up. Falls asleep on the kitchen floor with food in his mouth, and you just say, "Hey, let me just pick him up and put him on the couch." That don't make any sense to me.
I stand with saying that I don't believe any foul play was involved with Rich Homie Quan's death. I do think it's an accidental overdose. And even though y'all gonna say, "Oh no, this person tried to kill him," this and third, I really think it's an accidental overdose. What I will say is that this still alarmed me. Few things. I think the brother's statement was very alarming. If you find your brother passed out with food in his mouth, like, you have to remember, we know people fall asleep. We know sometimes people be off drugs and maybe pass out. But if you find them unconscious, or you find them where you think they're sleeping and food is in their mouth, they couldn't even finish chewing the food, I would probably be like, "Yo, are you okay? Let me get you some water. What is going on?" Not, "Oh, I'm going to just put you on the couch. I'm going to just put you on the couch to sleep." That would have been a red flag for me. Now, I don't believe this brother didn't care for Rich Homie Quan. I don't believe that this brother is nothing but a loving brother. So what this does tell me, and this is the only reasonable conclusion I could come to, is perhaps that this brother has seen Rich Homie Quan in many precarious positions due to his drug use. That we've played videos here before where people even verbally said to Rich Homie Quan, "You're a junkie." Now, granted, we as a population and the public and fans, we probably didn't see too much of the quote unquote junkie behavior, but apparently people around him didn't know of his drug use. And if he did die of drug, it's very possible that maybe the drug use was rampant and was going on for months, if not years. So them finding him passed out, even though passed out with food in their mouth is a little bit unusual, they thought, "Oh no, he's just off that shit again. Let's just make sure he's, put him on the couch, make sure he's good." Again, there's no conversation about them checking vitals at that point. And allegedly, the young woman, which is the baby mom's, only checked his vitals when instructed by the police when she called 911. So essentially,
big commerce has impacted our business from the standpoint that we have a global direction that will meet our.
I got to believe that his drug use was so normal that they felt, "Oh, he gonna be all right, just put him back on the couch." That's also a problem if that was the case, right? Again, very sad. These are additional details that come in about Rich Homie Quan's passing. Obviously, the official toxicology report has not been concluded yet, even though they are saying that they have done all necessary things with the body. They're apparently releasing the body, or have released the body to the, so the medical examiner has released it to the morgue. The family is then going to plan a funeral, and they want to do a supposed extravagant funeral that is public, over the top, because they feel like Rich Homie Quan was a legend, and he was, and that the fans deserve to have their day of mourning with Quan as well. So he's going to have a public funeral. Don't know where the venue is going to be at, but apparently we're hearing from the medical examiner and the detectives that they have concluded all the autopsy and collected whatever samples they needed to run whatever tests they will do later. which obviously is going to be a toxicology report. So we're going to hear an official cause of death or method of death based on what they find with that. But apparently they no longer need to keep the body. So they're going to release it to the father, and the father's going to go for it with a funeral. Again, I don't want to blame the brother, even though I did mention that didn't sound too normal.
That don't sound right.
You know, grief is a hell of a thing, bro. And I don't want to add on to the stress the family is feeling by even remotely suggesting that his brother could have either saved his life or done something, because sometimes when you're overstricken with grief, you know, especially with a loved one, you start thinking about what you could have done, how you could have done something different, how you could have proceeded. So, you know, I hope God helps that entire family. They're going through a very tough time. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat room if you want to call in and add to the you know, this rich homie Quan segment before we move on to the flights. Links in the chat room. You could call in. Marie says, everyone please get CPR certified. That's very important. That's something I need to do. High rate of drug use in Black community causes premature death to our folks. Sad. I like Quan. It's stay off them drugs. But then the question becomes, if you have a family member that you care about, who you care about, so-called, and he's getting geeked up to the point where it's normal, and again, I'm just assuming, like DJ Academics, where it's normal for him to be passed out anywhere in the house with food in his mouth, when do you intervene and say, hey, bro, you got a problem? We need to get you help. Like, when do you intervene? When do you say, hey, we dropping you off at the rehab center? Like, is getting doped up so much part of the culture now where it's just like, hey, he's just popping pills, it's normal? Like, when do you intervene? That's my question. When do you intervene? In fact, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna put this on Facebook real quick. Homie Quan's death. When does someone intervene when you know that a loved one has a drug problem? When is someone supposed to intervene when you know that a loved one has a drug problem? Yeah, that's my question. Like, when do you intervene? This doesn't. I mean, how do you get to this point? They don't want to. Jonathan, you make a great point. They don't want to. They didn't want to upset the bag. Okay, Jonathan, Colin, how do you upset the bag though? Like, how do you upset the bag? Like, you don't have a heart to heart with that person? You just let them do it? Yeah, they didn't want to upset the bag. Okay, well, the bag is gone now. All right, and then I want to go ahead and jump and transition into this whole y'all listen. If you guys don't know, flying from, listen, it can be cheaper to fly from New York to darn near anywhere in Africa round trip than it is flying from Freetown, Sierra Leone to Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, which is only two countries apart. It's Sierra Leone, Liberia, then Cote d'Ivoire. It is more expensive to fly round trip between Freetown and Abidjan than it is New York to Freetown or Abidjan. We got a problem. I mean, expensive as hell. Like, so I was running I'm still gonna honor it. I'm still honoring it. But Benin will be the last time I honor this. Again, this Benin trip is the last time that I honor it. But I was running like an ECOWAS special. So if you come on a tour with me, and if you're coming from an ECOWAS country and you're going back to an ECOWAS country, like you got a discount. AJ Niger, even when you go to the carriers, even if you try to go directly to the carriers, it's expensive as hell still. So it was an ECOWAS promotion that I was running. Now I'm still gonna run it through Benin will be the last time, or the last, because I want to encourage traveling amongst ECOWAS countries. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna run an ECOWAS special. You get a discount if you're coming from an ECOWAS country and going back to an ECOWAS country. You get a discount. Man, I started looking at the price of these flights in between ECOWAS countries. Now, between like Nigeria and Ghana, it's okay. But like even from Nigeria to Lome, Togo, which is literally like a 30-minute flight, expensive as hell. No, I'm gonna say this, Salone Boy. So this, I found this on BBC. Pause. And it breaks it down. But traveling amongst African countries is crazy. But I did find, so when we go to Zanzibar next week or weekend after next, because technically we'll be leaving Sunday. I'm flying from Dar es Salaam back to Accra. I mean, going from Dar es Salaam to well, shit, I mean, these tickets are expensive. Yeah, you gotta understand, these tickets are expensive. The first group I took to Sierra Leone, this is back in 2021. Round trip ticket, Air France, which doesn't fly to Sierra Leone anymore. They stopped. Round trip ticket, we flew out of Chicago to Freetown. Was only like maybe $750 round trip. Yeah, Fatu, the price from Accra to Freetown, one way, these tickets are ridiculous. Like I said, it's cheaper to fly out of New York. It's cheaper to fly out of New York to any African country. For the most part, there are exceptions, than it is to fly in between African countries, especially West Africa. I flew from Ghana to Sierra Leone once. It was nearly $500. It was crazy. Yeah, it's ridiculous. How are people supposed to move around? Because that same distance, like in Europe, like flying around European countries, you get a ticket from London to Berlin or London to Lisbon or whatever, at the most, 170 euros, 150 euros. You can move around Europe for dirt cheap. These African countries, crazy. Listen, you're not, except for maybe Lagos to Accra, you are not going to find a one-way flight amongst West African countries for less than $150. You won't find it. Maybe you might, like, sometimes I found a cheap flight between again, Lagos on African Road Airways, from Lagos to Accra for like $190, $200. But that was a while ago. Now it's crazy. Listen, I'm gonna bring Jonathan on and I'm gonna play this article. This article breaks down the reason why these prices are so expensive. Go ahead, Jonathan. You got to mute yourself, Jonathan.
Yeah, my bad. I'm in Nigeria. Network suck. But no, you know how you have some people that be like, you know what, they want to tell someone something like very badly, but at the same time, that person damn near funds their whole life. So they kind of just shut down and just be like, you know what, like give them hints like you probably shouldn't be doing it like this, and that person might complain a couple of times or something like that, then they just stop entirely. They don't want to fuck up their money. And that's how people do it. But you're right though, them flights is ridiculous. Like me and my wife, bro, we flew from what was that, Lagos to Kigali. And I mean that shit was crazy. Real bad.
Yeah. Well, Rwanda Air.
Yeah, but no, it's crazy, bro, right? If you want to fly to Nairobi from Nigeria and you take Kenyan there, you would think it would be cheaper. It's hella expensive, but if you take Rwanda Air, you go all the way through Kigali and then go to Nairobi, it's cheaper.
Okay.
Or in some cases, you could be extreme. You want to go to Nairobi, they'll fly your ass to freaking South Africa first and then take you over to Nairobi and it'll be cheaper. And I'm like, how the hell is that even possible? It's just some weird shit, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Elvis.
Yeah, I just want to touch on what Jonathan was saying. You know, like with black families, when it comes to drug use or interventions, I think it's harder because you have to confront not just the quote unquote child in this situation, maybe his father was going to be the one to do it, but it's a reflection of yourself. So sometimes trying to tell your kid, you know, not to do drugs, you got to kind of reflect on what you did to, you know, what you did wrong as a parent. And I think that's an issue that a lot of people don't like to, you know, like to address. Like Donis was saying, trying to get a black man into rehab. One of the things we don't do well is admitting that we have problems and that we need to seek help for it. So it was probably something that maybe somebody brought up to him in passing, maybe his girlfriend, but the men in his life were probably themselves too reluctant to face that problem head on. And like I said, bro, like see a lot of these guys dying, you know, and this is should be a wake up call to the younger guys who wants to be rappers and entertainers because it's not a glamorous life. They think it is, but it's not. A lot of these guys are on drugs. A lot of them, after the fame has diminished even a little bit, they start to get depressed. They start to use, pills to try to numb that pain of not being famous, or maybe some of the things that they did to get famous is weighing on their brain. It's just not good for young black men. I think if you don't come from a strong family structure and a strong support system, you're going to fall through the cracks in that entertainment industry. But in terms of this whole airplane thing, look, you have to factor into the cost because I think once a plane goes to an airport, right, and lands there, I'm sure there's certain fees that they have to pay. There's certain overheads that they have to take care of. And these intercontinental, international airlines, they're not worried about, I don't say I'm not going to say they're not worried, but they're not considering, domestic flights to be any different, the international flights, because I'm
But
sure in that.
that argument doesn't hold when it comes to flying around Europe.
That's what I'm saying, because in Europe it's a continental, a flight, but when you leave your continent and go to another continent, there are certain fees that you have to pay, and these African
No, no,
airlines.
no, Elvis, we're speaking on flying within Africa from country to country.
That's what I'm saying. These Most of the airlines that you're flying with are not based in Africa, right? These are international
No,
airlines. Like
they are based in Africa. Air Senegal, Africa Road Airways, Air Peace, Rwanda Air, Kenya
so
Airways.
these are the flights that you're taking from
Yeah,
Nigeria to the other countries.
expensive as hell.
Oh, okay, I thought
Air,
we were
Air,
talking about
Air,
like the big airlines.
Air Cote d'Ivoire.
No, then I don't know then, because I was thinking that's what I was going to advocate for. Like more of these, domestic, international airlines would probably be cheaper for the continent. But if you're saying they're more expensive, then I don't know what to tell you. Then I have no opinion on that subject. Then, yeah.
All right, go ahead, Marie, and then I'm gonna play this briefing by BBC. Pause. Go ahead, Marie.
Okay, hello. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about rich homie Quan. Um Sometimes even if you do get the person help, like sometimes they go back out there and they start doing the same thing. I used to work at a nursing home where they made like unit 2, one of the units, a drug rehab unit. And one of the guys, he got clean. He came and got clean and stuff like that. I'm not going to mention his name or anything like that, but he was on heroin and doing like prescription drugs. We got him clean and things like that. And then next, after he was done with therapy, he went back out there and started doing what he was doing again, and he passed away. He was 27. He had like 3 kids. So sometimes you do try to get them help, because I have a cousin like that, and she's struggling doing like prescription drugs and stuff like that. But it's hard for her to get help. It's like you could try to help your family, or you could try to help get your friends in there, but sometimes even if they do therapy, they come back out and they start doing the same thing again. So it's just like, I don't know, but his girlfriend, she should have never laid him on the couch. If he was unresponsive, she should have did
No,
start.
it was the brother that just when he had food in his mouth, he was passed out on the kitchen floor. Just picked him up, put him on the couch.
Well, I don't know. I just felt like if he saw him unresponsive like that, like I would have checked his pulse. If he didn't have a pulse, I would start doing CPR, and then you have someone call 911. That's what I would have did. But this is why people need to get CPR certified, because maybe we could start saving more people's lives. And also, if someone is having an opiate overdose, there's this over-the-counter prescription. It's like a nasal spray, and it helps reverse the side effects of an opiate overdose. And I mean, I'm just saying that I just feel like we could do so much more. I mean, we can do the best we can, but sometimes people are just going to go back and start doing drugs again, just like the guy who I just talked about, how they're admitting people who have drugs to nursing homes now to help them, to become better. But sometimes they go back out there and they start doing the drugs over again. So um, that's all I really had to say. I just think it's sad.
All right, let me play this story by BBC network. This goes into detail why flights are so expensive.
Hello and welcome to Business Daily. I'm M. Hashmi. In today's episode, how have food prices affected Ramadan? Ramadan is the Islamic holy month where Muslims around the world fast every day
Oh,
from
this ain't it.
dawn to dusk. Iftar is the main meal during Ramadan.
Hold on,
It's
guys. This
taken
ain't
from
it.
Maghrib,
That's it.
sunset, each day after up to 19 hours
Hold
of
on, hold on,
fasting,
hold on.
depending on where you are in the kebab and many other delights with lots and
Yeah,
lots
guys,
of
just hold on one second. Let me goodness. Hold on one second, guys. I literally just had it. Let me
bounds.
ain't it? Hold on one second. My bad. Here we go. I got it. Sorry about that. No, I'm about to play it right now.
Hello and welcome to Business Daily from the BBC World Service with me, Rebecca Kesby. Today, why is flying within Africa up to 45% more expensive than anywhere else and often much more difficult?
If you wanted to get to Tunis from Gabon's Libreville, for example, you might actually need to go through Paris. And definitely the exorbitant cost of travel is another problem.
At the moment, Africans are suffering. They're paying some of the highest fares of anywhere in the world.
And why are even non-flying Africans affected?
Aviation contributes directly to the GDP in every country. It generates the work and it activates the economy, literally. You can see the direct impact aviation has on the country's economy.
How can Africa fix its flying problem? That's here on Business Daily from the BBC. Africa's air passengers are paying higher ticket prices and higher taxes than travellers just about anywhere else in the world. Connectivity is also a problem, often making it easier and cheaper to travel to another continent than to pop next door to a neighbouring country, as these long-suffering business travellers in the Kenyan capital Nairobi explain.
If you look at the cost of flights between our African countries, it's very, very expensive. For example, a flight to South Africa is very expensive. I wanted to go to Cape Town for work, and the next time when I needed to go to Dubai, it was significantly cheaper to go to Dubai than to go to Cape Town. Yeah.
For example, when I last went to India, it was the same price as when I traveled to Dar es Salaam. So traveling in Africa, within Africa, is quite expensive.
For us also to do business with other countries in Africa, I'll get difficulties, and most people prefer going to Dubai because it's cheaper.
Traveling in Africa, not only in Kenya, but the entire Africa, with not even getting any discounts anywhere.
So no discounts, no budget airlines, and not
There's no
direct
video,
flights.
it's just audio.
And this isn't just an issue for middle class, business people and tourists. It's having a direct economic impact on the whole continent. Kamil Alawadi is Regional Vice President for Africa and the Middle East at the International Air Transport Association. It's the global trade body representing some 300 airlines, which is about 83% of total world air traffic.
There's 54 countries in Africa, about 1.4, 1.5 billion people in Africa, which constitutes about 18% of the world's population. And then when you look at the traffic, it's less than 2% of people flown are in Africa. So it's underperforming in comparison to the rest of the planet when it comes to the amount of traffic being flown and the destinations and the connectivity and so on.
We often focus on the individual traveller, don't we? The difficulties of getting around and the cost. But what wider impact does the aviation industry have on any given country's economy?
Aviation contributes directly to the GDP in every country. It generates the work and it activates the economy, literally. If you're a country that survives tourism, aviation would be pretty much the only source of income where you bring in currency from abroad. So aviation generates jobs. Look at some of the more successful countries the past 3 years, the UAE and Qatar and so on. You can see direct impact aviation has on the country's economy.
Adi Falaki Adeyeye is Assistant Professor of Commercial Law at Durham University, and she agrees that Africa as a whole is missing out on business, tourism, and trade because of its poor air service.
It's been shown really that air transport does boost the economy, does help with business, does help with jobs. The impacts that low cost carriers can have, we can see from other continents, which then obviously will impact on the connectivity and the cost. There'll be more tourism. This will impact on the hotel service industry. So there is a lot.
And aside from tourism, what about commerce? Because Africa's got landlocked countries, the roads aren't great in many places, there are very few railways. It's quicker and more practical to use air for cargo too, isn't it?
Yes, but then there's a problem there. So, for example, if you wanted to fly between Central African Republic and the Democratic Republic of Congo, you might actually need a connecting time of between 9 to 10 hours, and you might then have to actually go via an airport in West Africa or in North Africa. And that's concerning because if you were going to take a direct flight, it would only take you about 2 hours. Trying to just get from one place to the other in Africa can be very difficult. And you just can understand the impact that can have on business.
Let's have a bit of fun. I'm going to pretend to be a highly successful businesswoman from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Let's say I want to go from Kinshasa. I've got urgent business in Lagos in Nigeria. Kinshasa is probably similar sort of size to London. Lagos is enormous. Let's do an experiment. Now, I've worked out the distance is probably comparable as between Berlin in Germany and Istanbul in Turkey. Okay, so let's try that first. Can I get there first of all? Yep, I've got direct flights. That's good. I can go today for about 140 US dollars. Just trying to do the exchange rate in my head. If I hang on and go tomorrow, I can go for less than $100. I could probably get there for about $95. 2 hours, 50 minutes. Excellent. Okay, let's just transfer that to West Africa and see how I get on there. Oh, goodness me. Goodness me. Okay, so it is possible, but it's going to cost me 700 US dollars. That's one way. I've got to go via Johannesburg in South Africa, then Kigali in Rwanda. It's going to take me nearly 18 hours. And if I wait a day, oh goodness, this is not funny. The next option is to go via Johannesburg first, then Addis Ababa, and it's going to take me 41 hours. What kind of business person has got that sort of time?
Africa
Hold
is
on,
a
hold on.
massive
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
continent.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Not
whoa. Hold
only
on, hold
does
on,
it
hold on,
not
hold on,
have
hold
to
on.
be efficient.
Somebody said the mayor of New York just resigned. You mean the mayor or I know the police commissioner just resigned. Are you saying, hold on, I gotta look this up. This is breaking news. And I know why he resigned. Yeah, it was the commissioner, not the mayor. It's the commissioner. Yeah, you got to get your facts straight. You got to get your facts straight. It was the commissioner. I knew it was the commissioner about the mayor.
Air transport system, but all of its major carriers are in financial bankruptcy.
This is Zemadena Nagatu. He's the global chairman of the Fairfax Africa Fund, which is a US-based investment firm working in Africa, including in the aviation sector. And actually, there is one African airliner that's not facing bankruptcy. In fact, it's flourishing. But I'll let him tell you about that later. First, which ones are struggling and why?
South African Airways, the most advanced economy in Africa, doesn't have a viable national airline. It's been bankrupt for a number of years. Kenya Airways is in financial bankruptcy, hasn't made money in 9 years. There needs to be a coherent strategy.
Right. So I used to fly South African Airways direct from Dulles to Dakar, Senegal. But then they went bankrupt and they stopped the route. Now United, I think you can fly. I think United flies direct from Dulles to Dakar, Accra, and Lagos, and Joburg. But it used to be South African Airways. South African Airways. Errol, this investigation. I'm gonna tell you what this is. What triggered this investigation? When Eric Adams started criticizing Sleepy Joe Biden and his immigration policies and how it's impacting New York, all of a sudden they start coming for him. That's why. Again, when Eric Adams started calling out Sleepy Joe Biden, all of a sudden, here comes the investigations.
By Africa to address the issue of poor air service if they want to transform Africa's economies, because at the moment, Africans are suffering. They're paying some of the highest fares of anywhere in the world. Today in Africa, air travel is still restricted by what's called bilateral air service agreements, so country to country negotiations. So it's a very fragmented market, making it very difficult. Imagine in Europe, for example, any airline within the EU can fly to any other EU member country without restrictions. That doesn't happen in Africa. So the first thing that you need to do is open it up to African airlines. Secondly, African governments, they need to realize standalone carriers are not viable. Look at Europe. Europe essentially has only 3 carriers. IAG, which is the British Airways Iberia joint venture, Lufthansa, which owns multiple airlines across Europe, including Swiss Air and Austrian Air, and Air France KLM Alliance. This is in a huge, very wealthy market in Europe. They decided that standalone airlines, excluding the low-cost carriers, the Ryanairs, EasyJets, those are point-to-point low cost. But if we're talking about big, long-haul carriers, you cannot have single standalone airlines. Africa should learn from them. Airlines are businesses. They need to be run as businesses. And if it means that you have to create joint ventures with other airlines, preferably with other African carriers, so be it.
So, is what you're saying then that some of the biggest hurdles are actually political because governments don't want to lose their national airliners and they're suspicious maybe of the private sector?
Yes, I mean, I think partly it's a political issue because every government in Africa wants to see their flag flying on the back of the tail of an aircraft at Heathrow or JFK Airport. Secondly, the ownership structures of African airlines, even the private ones, are wrong. They're undercapitalized. All of them are owned by single wealthy individuals who can only sustain the airline for so long in a capital intensive industry. There's a saying, I think it's Richard Branson who said this: what is the quickest way to become a millionaire? Well, you start with $1 billion and invest in an airline because it's extremely difficult to sustain an airline. If you plan to grow, you need joint ventures with large carriers.
So, none of these problems are new. African governments have been discussing how to improve air connectivity and regulate the service since the 1980s. There have been various initiatives, beginning with the Yamoussoukro decision way back in 1999. It was named after the Ivorian capital, where it was hatched, and it was designed to open up African skies and to liberalize the market. So, what went wrong? Professor Adeyeye again.
So it was actually an attempt to try and make sure that air travel would be much easier. They wanted to regulate the framework so there would be unified air transport, but it wasn't very successful. And even since then, there's also been the single African air transport market trying to do the same thing.
So, what are some of the barriers to those attempts becoming successful?
With the smaller countries, there's the concern that they wouldn't really be able to get a slice of the market. Not a lot of them have kind of, strengthened operations for the execution of this and strengthening the partnerships that they have. A lot of times it doesn't work out, but just trying to maybe work around the visa policies as well, make it easier for people to move from one place to another in Africa.
One of the obstacles might be the fact that African countries have different and competing interests. Countries like Ethiopia, Egypt, Kenya, and South Africa have large airlines. About 20 countries have smaller flag carriers, like Botswana, Malawi, and Rwanda. And some, like Nigeria, at least at the moment, only have private carriers. So keeping all sides in agreement can't be easy. Here's Regional Vice President of the International Air Transport Association, Kamal Alawadi again.
There's 54 countries. None of them have similar regulations. So it gets complicated. The difference of standards within each state, the levels of security and safety, the levels of regulations. It'd be great if we could have all apply one standard and then subsequent to that, it becomes far easier to deal between each other.
But do you have any sympathy with some African governments that might have concerns about liberalising the market totally and opening it up to the commercial sector, especially when you look at how other industries have been exploited by capitalist interests? I'm thinking of oil and the mineral sectors. A lot of wealth from that has left the continent, and local people haven't benefited from it at all. Can you understand why governments might be resistant to commercialization?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I do understand. But I mean, in the end, it's a business. And there's this level of protectionism that actually starts to hurt the aviation industry. Then, in the end, you're not benefiting from having your own national carrier. And this is something we see quite common in Africa. I think it is how you demonstrate the benefits of liberalizing the aviation sector in each country, opening up the borders, allowing competition in, demonstrating how beneficial it is for the country's economy.
And now Africa does have an example of a successful carrier, and one that could be a blueprint for others to follow: Ethiopian Airlines. As promised, here's Zemedena Nagatu again. He's the global chairman of Fairfax Africa and has been involved in Ethiopian Airlines' success.
17 years ago, in 2004, Ethiopian Airlines decided that it needed a new strategy. It's been around at that time about 60 years, very good reputation, but relatively small. With 12 old aircraft, we worked with them, our firm. I led the team, just to be transparent. I led the team that worked with Ethiopian Airlines. One of the things they did was, where's the future growth? The future growth was in Africa and in Asia. So they focused heavily on those two places. Today, if you look at their flights to Asia, China and India combined, they fly to about 45 destinations a week. Secondly, they have been innovative from day one. Third, they always develop talent internally. They don't bring a CEO from a brewery to run Ethiopian Airlines. It has to be somebody who spent years, if not decades, within the airline that comes up the ranks. So from the pilots to the cabin crew to the CEO, worked at the airline for years and years and years. Fourth, and very important, even though it's 100% government owned, it's run like a private company. It's a business. The government does not interfere at all. No subsidies. But in return, the government said, you run the airline as you see it fit. So professionals running the airline has made it successful. The only major airline that did not get a government bailout during COVID was Ethiopian Airlines. BA got one, all the US carriers got one. You know what they did? They realized passenger traffic was dead during COVID. So they reconfigured 35 of their passenger aircrafts into cargo. They became the go-to airline for PPEs, COVID equipment coverage, as well as the medications for everyone in the world. When we started working with them 17 years ago, they had 4,000 employees. Today, they have 17,000. And they own 6 other airlines in Africa, joint ventures.
Kamel Alawadi agrees. Ethiopian Airlines shows what's possible with a state-owned public-private partnership.
The perfect alignment between the airline and the government. So decisions at government level are made in line with the benefit of aviation. And then the airline itself is always being run by professionals. It's literally the right chemistry between airline and government, I think.
So has Ethiopia inspired other African countries to open up then?
Actually, no. I mean, Ethiopia would have been the perfect example for all the other carriers to follow. But no, I don't see that. I noticed there is that hard headedness where each state believes they know how to handle it better and will stick to the remedies or the plans that they've had originally, albeit not very effective.
Your organization, the IATA, has said that if only 12 key countries work together to open up their markets and increase connectivity, it could boost GDP over $1 billion and create over 150,000 jobs across the continent.
Absolutely, because you want a certain amount of number of states to deal with each other and recognize each other fully. And once you do that, it's easier to get the people to come in. And if you look at how the EU started with 6 states and then grew after that, it's a similar approach.
At the turn of the millennium, Ethiopia was one of the poorest countries in the world. Now it's one of the fastest growing economies. Zemedena Nagatu, who is an Ethiopian American, says Ethiopian Airlines has played a part in that boom.
Ethiopia now is the third largest GDP in sub-Saharan Africa. Ethiopian Airlines being the largest carrier on the continent. So a lot of that passenger passes through Addis. So you can imagine also that has an impact on the Ethiopian economy. Ethiopian Airlines generates billions of dollars in hard currency for the country. And it makes every Ethiopian proud that they have been able to create one of the most successful indigenous African-owned, African-operated multinational companies, and has shown other Africans this is how we actually create multinationals out of Africa.
Zemedena Nagatu ending this edition of Business Daily with me, Rebecca Kesby. We're back tomorrow. Join us if you can.
Hello and welcome to Business Daily with me, Natalio Cosoy. I'm in Argentina, where beef is not just an industry, it's a way of life.
Sometimes we have a cow also as a reserve for capital, because it's better in Argentina to have cows than to have money in the bank.
All right, I'm back. We're back. You guys there? Anyone there? Y'all there? Okay, guys, links in the chat room.
I'm here.
Chat room, no, it's all good. I'll put the link in the chat room. All right, so links in the chat room. If you guys want to call in and add to our conversation, you can. If you guys want to call in, hey, John, did you see your boy Sleepy Joe Biden with the with the Trump hat on?
He had a Trump hat on. I ain't seen it yet.
Let's see this. Oh, sure. Hold on. Let me pull this up.
Yeah, I ain't seen that.
Hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. Hold on. Hold on. Pat Biden. No, let me pull this up real quick. Here we go. Hold on. Hold on. Here we go. All right, here we go. Hold on. Here's your boy is MAGA now. Elvis.
Oh Lord. If they don't put that on the Trump campaign, I don't know what to say.
Oh.
I'm putting that straight in the ad. Even Joe Biden wants me to win.
Oh man. Hey, Elvis, what you think about your boy? He's MAGA now. Elvis, you there? Elvis, you there? Okay, Elvis, you there? We can't hear you. Elvis, we can't hear you, Elvis. I know you're unmuted. We can't hear you. Guys, links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. Is Sleepy Joe Biden? Elvis is shocked. Sleepy Joe Biden is MAGA now. He's MAGA. I don't care if this is a joke. This shit is funny as hell. And I think the timing is wrong. If because like Jonathan said, because Jonathan, you remember I don't care what people say about Trump. You might think he's crazy, but when you go and like research what he says, he's usually right. So he said in the debates how Joe Biden hates Kamala Harris and hates the Democratic Party now because of how they treated him and how they ran him off. And now he's out campaigning. He's wearing a Trump hat. Oh man, this shit is funny. I mean, listen, when you research what Trump says, you know, because the media doesn't do it because they're anti-Trump. Well, mainstream media doesn't do it because they're so anti-Trump. But when you go and actually like research what Trump says, no matter how outrageous it sounds, he's a lot of times he has a point. And so he said in the debate, Joe Biden hates Kamala Harris. He hates the Democratic Party because how they threw him out, how they ran him off. And so he's like, fuck it, Trump 2024. Yeah, so Biden's for Trump now. Biden is for Trump now. He's like, man, listen, they're gonna run me off. If you can't beat them, join them. He said, if you can't beat them, join them. All right, guys, links in the chat room. If you guys want to call in after the conversation, you're more than welcome to call in and add to the convo. But links, Jonathan, you said you're in Nigeria right now?
Yeah, I'm in Benin.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, hey, listen, if nobody else is calling, Elvis, you still haven't answered the question, Elvis. How do you feel about your boy Biden wearing going Trump? He's MAGA. He's MAGA now.
Yeah, that's fine, Dennis. I think, you know, like we were just talking about interventions, it's difficult. And sometimes it breeds resentment against the people that's trying to help you. Clearly, Joe Biden is suffering, you know, from some type of maybe early onset dementia, you know, at his
Man,
age.
Elvis, y'all was making excuses for him when he at his last debate, and y'all was still team Ryan with Biden. So don't run him under the bus now.
No, I'm saying we could all see it. We know we're kept for our party, but we could see that he was, you know, on a downward trajectory. So it's not a big deal, you know. Biden is still beloved by most Democrats. We understand that it's a health issue. It's not something that has been that way forever. So it's fine. I mean, if you guys want to run with it, that's fine. But you're bearing the lead, Diners. You're talking about Trump saying crazy things, but you're not mentioning that he stated that Haitians are eating dogs and cats, which is just not true. You can talk about that one, but talk
No,
about the Bible.
we can talk about it.
So what do you think about it? Because I think it was the day before.
So this is the thing. There are reports. Let's see here. Oh, let me put this up real quick. So some people are saying it's false. Some people are saying it's happening. I don't see. I don't agree. I can't. I don't see that unless somebody
Right.
gets some actual evidence of that happening. I don't.
No, I think it happened.
I don't think that's.
What happened was there was another lady who most people said was having like a mental breakdown and started eating a live cat. She started eating it. She was having a mental breakdown. It happened like I think like 100 miles away from Springfield. There is an influx of immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. It's like 20,000 Haitians, but again, they're not illegal. They're on that TPS, you know, temporary protective status. Uh, uh, you know, so they're taking the jobs. The town is pretty much dying, and they need an influx of labor. And those guys are taking those jobs and trying to keep that town afloat economically. So JD Vance These guys, they like to fearmonger, and now immigrants has become the new buzzword to hate. So I think you said it right on one of your shows a few days ago that obviously it's not true. But
I'm not.
Republicans,
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I think Trump went over the. I can't. My Haitian family, y'all can't be eating cancer dogs. I don't see. I just don't.
I
I
will
don't.
say this is controversial, right? But I will say this, and this is you're part of that
And,
religion.
and like I said, there were some people in Springfield saying it's true, but
Nah.
I think it might, like you said, it's probably a one off. Definitely a one off.
Yeah, but in voodoo they do animal sacrifices, right? Cats
Right,
and
you're right. So it could be a voodoo
may-
ceremony.
yeah, or maybe those white guys who knows about Haitian practices, they're trying to put that into like a dog whistle. But usually, you know, I mean, these guys are complaining about people getting their food stamps money and getting housing and things like that. I'm sure that if the government is helping those immigrants, they don't have to go eat dogs and cat. They can go to the supermarket and buy some chicken or something. So it's just more the fear mongering from your side, Dinus. And you got to call it out. I'm glad you're doing it
But
because some
I
people
mean,
will
but
try to
it's
justify it.
Elvis. It's both sides. Like even during the debate, you guys still keep bringing up Charlottesville. When if you listen to the entire speech, Donald Trump was very clear that he renounces and denounces white supremacy and Nazis. He was very clear about it. So it goes both ways. You guys keep bringing up Project 2025. Donald Trump's very clear he that's not his plan. His plan is on his website. So you guys, it goes both ways.
Yeah, what are Democrats saying about other Americans that's demagoguing them
Now
to
who?
make you? What are the Democrats saying about other Americans or other immigrants into this country that's making them look bad to you?
What are they saying?
Yeah,
I don't think they're saying anything, which is the problem.
no, because they're not telling you to hate
Well,
immigrants. They're
well,
just
well
telling you to
you
hate
know what?
illegals.
I take that back. Mayor Adams started calling it out, and now he's under investigation from the Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, you think that's the reason why?
I know that's the reason why, because all of a sudden he starts calling out immigration, the illegal immigration, how it's affecting New York and how it's a problem. Then here comes all these investigations out of nowhere.
Donnie, I'll tell you this is a history of this nation, right? There have been, I've said it before and you don't want to hear it, but there's been periods in time where you had an influx of immigrants. You can go back to the early 1900s when the Italians and the Irish was coming in. You had a similar situation where you had, a strain on the resources of the nation because an influx of people coming in is going to take more resources to get them settled, and that's what's happening now. You go back to the 70s or the 60s when you had the Lao, the people from Laos, the monks coming in California and other places. You had the same thing. You go back to the 90s with Somalians coming in. You had a similar thing here in Minnesota. Now you have the unrest in South America or Central America. You have an influx of people coming in. You have the Haitians, doing the
Yeah, but
hurricane.
Elvis, I watched a documentary called The Donut King, which spoke on the not Laos, but where are they from? Not Vietnam, not Cambodians,
Right.
immigrants.
Yeah.
They came in legally. That Elvis, that's the thing. They came in legally. I know you're going to use this word called asylum, but they came in legally. That's the difference.
Right. So the point here is the influx of immigrants, right? If you want to argue that, these guys who are seeking asylum are not legal, that's what I keep saying. Do a little research. There's a policy that some people don't agree with, which is fine. I can see that. And you can vote against the Democrat if you think that that's their policy, but it's a federal policy that's been long standing. So when these guys come in and they seek asylum, you let them in, you do your investigation. If it's credible, you give them, temporary, status. If it's not, you deport them back home. So the influx is coming from places like Venezuela. We know what's going on in Venezuela. If there's a coup in Mexico right now and the cartel takes over that nation, there will be an influx of Mexican, more so than we've ever seen coming into this country. So anytime there's unrest, especially in the region,
The cartels are working with the government, so they're working with the government. So
that's fine. I'm just saying. So it's not something that's unusual. There's just periods in time where it happens. So it's happening. This is one of those times, and it's happening. So It's not the Democrat that's calling them in. It's that things are happening that's causing
No,
them to want to
they
come to the
were
United
definitely, the Democrats were definitely calling them in when Trump was in office.
Oh, I mean, that's it. Maybe Trump is going to win on immigration. Maybe that's going to be the winning strategy for him. You know, I'm a Democrat. I vote Democrat. I support the Democrat. Whatever happens in these elections, I accept it. But that's my position. That's where I stand. It's just that simple. Yeah, but who you think won that debate the other night?
I would say Trump finished strong, but I can see how both people on both sides. Because I would call it a draw overall. I would
Okay.
call it a draw.
I'll be fair to you and tell you this. Trump won the first 20 or 30 minutes. I think he was strong. He was hitting hard. And again, that's just something that happened with age. They try to do it to Biden, but we can do it to Trump. He got fatigue at the end. He was tired standing up there. He got really tired. And then he started going on these dementia rants. He said something that a lot of people didn't catch, which was also as ridiculous as the dog eating comment. He said that there are immigrants in jail who the Democrats are turning to transsexuals, something crazy like that. Which is
Elvis, you didn't look that up. Well, come on, hold on. Let me see again. Donald Trump sounds like he's talking crazy, but hold on. Let me pull this up. Kamala Harris. I think it was Kamala Harris that said that, as far as sex assignment or whatever. Here we go. Let me pull this up right now. Because she did say that. So, like I said, it sounds like Trump is sounding crazy, but when you look and dig, he's right. Here we go. Harris supported gender transition surgeries for prisoners paid for by the taxpayer. Democratic nominee backed liberal policies on immigration detention and decriminalizing drug possession in a 2019 questionnaire. Kamala Harris has previously said she would support offering taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries to prisoners. In a 2019 American Civil Liberties Union questionnaire, the then California senator backed a raft of liberal policies, including immigration detention and decriminalizing federal drug possession. The survey, which was sent to all Democratic and Republican candidates during the 2020 campaign, has resurfaced at an awkward time for Ms. Harris, who has been attempting to shake off attacks from Donald Trump, who has named her comrade Kamala. The 5-year-old questionnaire, which was discovered by CNN. So it was discovered by CNN, who's your favorite liberal network. So we can't say this is Fox News propaganda. Will provide extra fodder for Trump 78 to attack Ms. Harris during Tuesday's presidential debate in Philadelphia. One of the questions put to Ms. Harris in 2019 was whether, as president, she would ensure transgender and non-binary people who rely on state medical care, including those in prison and immigration detention, would have access to gender transition surgery. Like I said, Trump, you think some of the stuff Trump says is crazy, but when you look it up and dig, I mean,
you missed it, Donis. It says inmates, right? Trump said there were illegal immigrants who were in jail that the Democrats was giving
if you're a
transgender
legal,
surgery to. So that's the
right, but
difference.
if you're a legal immigrant and you're in jail, you're still an inmate,
right? No, you see now you're trying to change it.
But is that yes or no? Yes or no? If you're a legal immigrant in a prison, will you be considered an inmate? Yes or no?
Yeah, you're an inmate.
Okay,
but that's not what he said. He didn't say inmates in prison. He limited the scope to illegal immigrants, and that's not what she said. She pretty much said something that is, I don't know. I don't really know about it, but people who are depending on Medicare.
But do you see this? And so this was all part of a questionnaire, and in this questionnaire was including immigration detention. So there you go. So
you're trying to join.
I'm not. It's right there.
No, but that's not what you read in the article. It never said she was in favor of illegal immigrants getting health care in jail. She never said that. She said those who are on Medicare, who are on government assistance, and they're
Right.
getting medical help, and they're locked up in prison,
Right.
and they want to seek gender reassignment surgery, she will
Uh-huh.
be in favor of the government, covering it. So if you disagree with that policy, fine, you can vote against her for that. But that was her point.
I
She
mean, come on,
wasn't.
Elvis, man, come on. Like I said, if you just dig, even that alone is still sick. But I mean, it's whatever. Guys, links in the chat room if you want to call in after the conversation. Please click on the link. If you want to call in after the conversation, please click on the link. Link is in the chat room. So if not, we'll wait a couple more minutes and then we'll close out.
Oh, Dennis, I wanted to ask you. I mean, I don't know why you never brought it up because I think it probably hit closer to home. People are worried about social, problems when guns are killing kids. I know you said something about your kid. You don't want your kid sharing the bathroom with a gender person. Are you more so worried about your kid getting shot in school with all these school shootings that's happening?
What all school shootings? How many school shootings were there? So,
I mean,
there
there's
was
been a lot of school shootings in the history of this nation.
okay. So
And
there's
you
one.
just had one in Georgia, right? Appalachia or whatever the school
Yeah,
district
right.
is.
Yeah, that one in Georgia. Go ahead, continue.
I mean, Dennis, are you kidding me? Are you telling me that it's not an influx of
Yeah,
school shootings or mass shootings in this country?
but the point I'm trying to make, it's illegal for a kid to bring a gun onto a school campus. So that's already illegal. So it's against the law. The law is broken. It isn't like it's not criminalized. It is criminalized. So I don't understand your point.
So
But
you
yeah,
don't think that's more of an immediate threat to your kid going to school than him possibly sharing a bathroom with a transgender person? You don't think that's more of a threat to his life?
Elvis, right now they're making it legal and thank God the Supreme Court shut down Title IX, the addendum that Sleepy Joe Biden was trying to add to it. Thank God it was shut down. But it's at one time it was legal for that to happen. As far as the guns, it's illegal. So yeah, if it's illegal, you get in trouble, you get locked
Yeah,
up.
that's my question. What's more of a threat to your child's life or anybody who has kids or going to school? Is it people bringing guns in school and shooting the kids, or somebody sharing a bathroom with your kid who is transgender?
I don't agree with both. I don't agree with neither of them.
Okay. One of them, your kid probably gets hurt badly or God forbid dead, and the other one is probably an uncomfortable situation for him.
Do you mind your children be going sharing a restroom with a transgender?
I don't buy into it, but it's just something that doesn't happen often. I don't know. Maybe there are people in the chat who have said that they've shared a bathroom with a transgender person.
Alvis, I'm asking, do you mind if your child shares a restroom with a transgender? Do you mind? Is it yes or no?
I probably mind. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but kids getting shot in school is more of an immediate threat, and also where you live could probably be a situation. That's why I say it's always local. You live in Atlanta. I'm sure there's a lot of transgender people in Atlanta. I live in Minnesota. We barely see any of those kinds of people here, so it's not an issue for me. So if it's an issue for you, then I understand it. But I don't know when the last time you shared a bathroom with a transgender person or anybody in your family said that they shared a bathroom with one of those people. That's the problem.
I'm talking children.
Well, we heard about.
I'm saying the kids.
That's what I'm saying. Have you heard any kid from your family or your friends that said they shared a bathroom with a transgender person?
No.
Okay.
And also, I haven't heard of any of my family or friends saying that a child was caught bringing a gun to school.
But you heard it in your community that some kids got killed. You heard it from Parkland in Florida. You heard it from Sandy Hook. You heard it from Uvalde. You heard it from a lot of these schools where kids are being killed in their classrooms.
Right. I'm hearing about transgenders in restaurants, but I don't agree with neither. So,
but you don't speak against it, Diners, and that's a threat to our kids, right?
Okay.
Republicans are in favor of that policy.
They're both threat. When did a Republican say kids can bring guns to schools?
No, I'll take that back. Not the policy, but they're in favor of the root cause of that, which is stringent background checks before people can buy guns. Having a restriction on who can own guns, especially people with mental health history. So the Democrats wanted to do a comprehensive gun reform bill, and the Republicans went against it.
I
And I think
wonder,
that's even more dangerous.
I wonder what was all in the bill. Go ahead, Delroy.
Hey, what's up, Dennis? I'm put my little lunchtime 2 cents in. How's everybody?
Everybody's good.
We're good, Derek.
So we talking about flights or guns?
You talk about guns. The flights are way in Africa. The guns are right here in your neighborhoods and killing kids.
So Elvis, we trying to do? We trying to get rid of the guns?
No, I think people should be vetted for those who wants to own gun. If they have a history of mental health, it should probably be possible for them to own a gun, or maybe very difficult for them to own a gun. And like what's going on now, they have to pass maybe a federal bill that parents who are negligent in maybe keeping guns away from their adolescent kids, and if they get caught, if they get, their guns and go and shoot somebody, those parents should also be equally liable for the death of those kids. And I think we have a couple of examples with these two parents from Michigan and one from Atlanta or Georgia that's going to probably be tried for murder because they were negligent in how their kids obtained those guns. So I think things like that are good policy that will protect kids in school, especially. What do you think about that?
Well, you might be right. We do need to protect children from guns as best as possible. But I'm telling you, guns in the United States is like prostitution. It's been here, been around forever, and no Democrat, no Republican could ever change when it comes to guns. You might as well forget it, bro.
Nah, I think that's a defeatist mindset, Delro. Because the NRA and these gun manufacturers are just so powerful. You think they can't be defeated, but you can do a little at a time, asking for what we call common sense gun reform laws, especially when it comes to schools. Your kids, maybe you don't have school age kids, but I have kids. I have a niece and nephews that go to school. So it's heartbreaking when we see those things, bro. Imagine a kid getting shot, a 5 or 10 or 15-year-old getting shot. Imagine the trauma and how, traumatizing that is for them. God forbid the ones who are killed. That should be at the top of your mind to protect those kids rather than any other social thing. Whether you're against abortion, you're against, transgender, kids getting shot in school should be the first thing on your mind that you want to protect.
Yeah, but you know that in the United States, especially in the South, the law is gonna protect owners and the ability for anybody to own a gun. They're just gonna do it.
Say that again.
I said the law, especially in the South, is gonna protect any gun holder. They will never let anything get in between it, no matter what. They
Why
just
do you
won't.
think?
That
Why do you think that is?
unfortunately, that's what it is.
Why do you think that is, especially in the South? Why do you think
Well,
that is?
it's a gun culture. That's what they grew up within the South. It's just a gun. A gun is like a hammer, especially in the South. It's like a piece of tool. They have it all over the house. Everybody, old women bring guns to church with their Bible next to it.
Why? Why do you think they do that?
It's just part of the culture. I'm telling you, owning a gun, especially in the South, right? 'Cause I grew up in the North, and I now live in the South for the past 20 years. And a gun down here is like it's like owning a piece of wood, bro. It's just like a natural thing, and
Look,
no one will change it.
I'm not against people who are level-minded and level-headed owning guns. That's what I'm saying. People who have a history of violence or mental health, it should be harder, almost impossible for them to hold guns.
They've
Nobody's
been
calling
saying
for.
they've been saying that for the last 30 years.
But
Nothing
do
have
you agree
changed.
with that, Daryl? Do you agree with that idea?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, but like I said, they've been trying to do it. Both Democrats and Republicans been trying to do something about it for years. They haven't done nothing yet.
Let's see.
As
Maybe
far
if
as
the
as far as the
Democrats get in
mentality,
there, yeah, maybe if the Democrats get in there, they can pass some restrictions on
the
people with
Democrats
mental
are
health.
in there. They don't have to get
No,
in there. They're
they
in there.
don't have the House.
But they had it before. They had both before.
No, but you need a super
At
majority
one
now.
point, Obama had the House, the Senate, and the presidency.
Yeah, earlier on in his presidency, that was before Sandy Hook in Newtown, and some of these, horrific shootings happen. And when he tried to do something about it, at that time he didn't have the Senate, so he couldn't do it. And
Newtown,
Republicans fought him.
Sandy Hook happened during Obama.
That's what I'm saying. Earlier on in his presidency, he had both houses. By the time that happened, I think maybe in 2012, maybe he didn't have the Senate anymore. He was in a minority in the Senate. So, and when he called for bipartisan gun reform, the Republicans rejected him. So there's nothing he could have done about it.
He could have done it while he had both of them. I mean, we always had
That's what I'm
shooting.
saying. Because at that time, it wasn't as big of an issue as it is now. We had Columbine that happened maybe in the 90s.
No. Gun violence was always an issue. It just bust out when these white kids started mowing down each other. It was always an issue.
No, it bust out when kids started getting killed in school, where it should be a safe place, and guns were being brought in school and massacring kids.
Yeah, but they
parents
should
wanted to protect their kids.
Elvis, the guns have always been in schools. They're always been
always.
When it was the white kids, then it became a problem. But at schools, it's been going on. Come on now.
Exactly. It's been going on. I don't forget. I went to school here. I went to high school. I grew up with gangs.
I went to school here too.
Right. So we grew up with
if
gangs.
You're talking about kids in a gang bringing a pistol to school and maybe trying to shoot a kid on the school grounds or in class, that's different. But when you have somebody who's coming into the school and killing kids indiscriminately, that's even more dangerous. And most of these kids have a history of mental health, of violent history. So you can do something comprehensive.
White kids. That's the average. White kids.
I mean, those same white kids can kill one of your nieces or your family members in school.
I know that. Matter. I'm just saying it became a problem for them. Okay, when the crack epidemic was around, and people was killing themselves left, right, and center, mostly black people. Oh, it wasn't a problem then. Okay, but when meth came around, right? No, drug is a big problem now. That's what I mean.
It was a problem, but the solution was to go against black. You heard about the drug war with Reagan, and he knew it was a problem. Nancy Reagan, all of them tried to do this campaign to try to get rid of crack and the drug epidemic in the 80s and in the 70s. And I think they had a plan. It was just being more draconian to black offenders and putting them in jail for a very long time.
They wasn't trying to get rid of nothing, Elvis. I'm just being serious.
I'm not saying they were trying to get rid of it sincerely, but they wanted to punish those who they thought was responsible for it.
Not really. As long as what's happening to black people, they were fine with it.
Okay,
that's just the way it is. And as far as transgender, let's put it this way. I don't think Democrat or Republican can do anything about it right now in the United States, because that's also becoming part of the culture. That's just the way I see it. I don't like it. I don't approve of it, but I don't see anybody doing anything about it, and it's just going to keep going and going and going. They're trying to get that shit in Africa right now. So what you going to do? There's nothing you can do about it.
Let me ask you a question, Delra. When is the last time you saw a transgender person? You live in Atlanta, right? Or maybe outside of
all the time, bro. Are you kidding me? All the time.
You see them all the time, right?
Bro, we in Atlanta. We in Atlanta.
That's what I'm saying.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. I live in Minnesota. I don't see those people, so it's not even something that I encounter. So for me, it's not an issue. That's what I say. It's always local. If you think it's an issue in your community, then maybe you have to find a way to deal with it. But here, we barely have them. Maybe in Minneapolis, where it's a big city, or maybe St. Paul. But I live in Plymouth, which is a suburb outside of Minneapolis. I don't see those people.
Do you know that some transgender men, some men, they pretend that they're transgender just to rape women and children?
Oh, Delroy, that may be true on very little cases, but there are men who don't pretend to be women who rape kids and women, more so than the transgenders who pretend to be women. Right? No, maybe he fell up. Maybe his lunch is over.
Let me pass it to woman. Go ahead, woman. Unmute yourself, woman.
Okay. I have a question for Elvis. So when you're speaking about gun violence in schools, and you said that it's not as in, well, I guess for you it's not on the forefront because you don't see it every. It's not. I'm sorry, transgenderism, because you're not seeing that every day, but you're more concerned about gun violence. Do you have children that are in school? Do you have nieces and nephews? Do you have children in school?
Yes, and I have niece and nephews too that are in school. Well,
Okay, you said you live in Minnesota. When was the last time there was a school shooting in Minnesota?
hasn't been a school shooting recently, but there have been cases where kids have been arrested with guns in school.
Okay, so well, when was the last time?
I think like last school year there was a kid that took a gun to a school, and I think it was like I forgot the town, but it's a town in the southern Minnesota. Who it was on the news. He got caught with a gun in his backpack, got arrested. The school was shut down. It was on the news here in Minnesota. Yeah.
Because the point I'm trying to make is like you said, it depends on where you are and what you're seeing. In your area, transgenderism might not be an issue that you are seeing. It doesn't mean that it's not there and it doesn't exist. I think it was Delroy that mentioned that these people can go into the bathrooms with these young kids, as happened in Florida. Even though they're in high school, they can still be predators. They can be predators in junior high school as well. There was a young girl that was raped in a school in Florida because there was a male that was allowed to use a female bathroom. The school district tried to cover it up. Her father went to the school board. They made a big deal. They got him arrested. I believe the FBI was investigating him because he was standing up for his daughter who was raped in school by someone that claims to be transgender. Now, I get that some of you, some Black people are now becoming sympathetic to these type of lifestyles. However, the point is not whether or not we believe these people are genuine or if we think that they're good or bad. What we're saying is that there are plenty of bad people out there that 100% will take advantage of the opportunities and will try to harm kids. So your argument that, well, it's not the transgender that are doing it. It doesn't matter if they're doing it. The danger exists, and that's what parents are concerned about. Right now, as it is, if you see a man in a woman's bathroom, something's up right away, right? Because the man should not be in there. But if we make it, if all of a sudden it becomes the norm for men or people looking like men to be in female bathrooms, then what's going to happen? If that becomes the norm, they have free range. We don't know who's the good one versus who's the bad one. They have free range to do whatever they want to do. The second thing I want to address is the whole issue about guns. The Second Amendment of the United States Constitution gives us the right to have guns. What is it? You're saying that Obama couldn't do anything because Sandy Hook or whatever happened after, but he no longer had control of the House and the Senate. Okay, but Columbine was way before that. And Columbine, I think to date probably has been the most, had the most casualties. I could be wrong. Columbine was way before that. So it's not like it just happened when Sandy Hook happened. Columbine happened before. I'm sure he was aware of that. I'm sure he knew about that. Why didn't he do anything when he was in power then? And this is what the Democrats are always trying to say, like, oh, we couldn't do it because we didn't have. No, you as someone else pointed out, Obama had presidency, he had the House and the Senate. And also these things can be done locally. That's the even bigger point. They can be done locally. And there are plenty of Democrat-run states where these kind of policies that you're mentioning are already in place. But people who want to break the law are going to break the law. This depends on the federal government to always step in and try to, smash everything. That's not how it works. That's why we have individual states with individual governments, and they can make local laws. But again, a criminal is going to be a criminal. It goes back to transgenderism as well. If a man decides to dress up as a woman, go into the bathroom to rape women, he's going to do it. And if he's allowed to do it, when we allow them to have that opportunity, no, it's going to be completely okay. Look at the case of the transgender man that was in the spa that had his entire genitals hanging out in front of a young girl and her mother. Before that, he wouldn't have been allowed. He wouldn't have been allowed in that female space before. But because of the new because it's now accepted in culture, in our everyday culture, he was allowed into that female space. He had his whole genitals hanging out in front of the young girl and her mother. When the other woman complained about it, she somehow became the villain in that story.
So I hear your points, right? But I have a question for you. What do you think is a more pressing issue right now? Kids getting shot in school, or people bringing AR-15 weapons in school and killing kids, or a transgender person sharing a bathroom with yourself or your kid?
I think that because we see the school shootings on the news and it becomes a huge, big story on every channel for a couple of days, we think that there's some epidemic of guns in schools. The reality is, there's not an epidemic. Once in a while, it happens. It becomes a big thing. I get it. It's very devastating to see. No child should feel afraid when they go into their schools. However, I think that the transgender issue is a much, much bigger issue, and it's a much more pressing issue because to me, what that represents, I don't know if how old you are, but I remember when I had first come to this country and a little bit after that, when people talked about Republican Party was always talking about homosexuality, and the term that I remember them using a lot was a slippery slope. I feel like we've gone down that slippery slope. We're halfway down, and the next thing that we're going to land on is it's going to be acceptable. And they already started this process. Is the accepting of older men, older people being attracted to younger people.
At moment,
The next thing, hold. Can I please finish? The next thing we're gonna find that's socially acceptable is going to be pedophilia. And they've already started that process. So to me, transgenderism is a bigger concern because culturally, what it represents to me is much more devastating to society. Every child is not walking into school with a gun. Once in a while, a child will slip through the cracks. They'll get their hand on a gun. They'll act out in school. 100%. When it happens, it's devastating. But the cultural implications of transgenderism and us accepting that as a society, and not just that, I'll go a step further. Homosexuality, the fact that we even accept that now as normal behavior to the point where we're thinking that transgenders could also be normal. That to me represent a much bigger threat to our society than kids having guns. And as someone else said, a criminal is going to be a criminal. It doesn't matter how many laws you put on the books, federal or otherwise. A person wants to go and shoot up a school, they're going to do it. They're going to find the gun, they're going to go do it. So restricting my right to have and own a gun does not do anything to stop a criminal. What it does is it stops me from being able to protect myself.
What state do you live in?
I'm in NY.
You're in New York, right? So I'm guessing you see a lot of transgenders in New York, right?
I'm in a part of New York where I don't see much.
Okay, so it's not really an issue for you in your daily life, is it?
It is an issue because, as I stated, it represents the bigger picture is the change in our culture and what that's going to lead to, what the next step is going to be after we say that this is acceptable. As I said in my original argument, that's why it's a bigger threat to all of us.
You know, I hear what you're saying, right? And like I said, me and Dinus had a conversation about this a few months ago. I think if they want to do the bathroom things, they can have a special bathrooms, for transgenders, where they can go in there and use the bathroom and not the men's or the women's. That's fine. That's not an issue that's harming the lives of kids. When you go to school and your kids are being killed with assault style rifles and they're being, hurt and and killed, that's a bigger issue socially. That's a bigger issue. The proliferation of guns in this country is an issue, even in the inner cities. So I think addressing the guns issue, especially people who have a mental health history or have a violent history of owning guns, I don't think that's taking away your rights. That's restricting your rights in order to protect the lives of other people, and I think I'm in
Yeah,
favor of that.
but Elvis, do you know that the Democrats are, whether you're Democrats or Republicans, we own guns just the same equally.
It's not about gun ownership. That's what you're not understanding. Nobody is saying that you can't own a
So what are
gun.
you trying to stop then? What are you trying to stop? I don't understand.
Regulating the kind of people that own guns, people with history of mental health and people with history of violence. Those are the people who are
Yeah,
more
yeah, but
prone
okay.
to committing violence with guns.
So not everybody that kill people have a mental issue.
Well, I know that, but that's what we're saying. Like you can't just say, like somebody said, anybody with a gun can just you think most people like yourself, Delroy, can just wake up one day and say, I'm gonna go into a school and shoot up the kids today. It takes somebody who is mentally sick to think, okay, I'm gonna take a gun, go to school and kill a bunch of kids.
If I get in jail, but Elvis, the majority of people who commit crimes like this aren't what's the word? Clinically considered mental ill, Elvis.
But the majority of them have a history, and most of them have been investigated, like
No,
the kid in
no,
Michigan, the
Elvis,
kid in Texas, and the kid in
no.
Atlanta.
Elvis. Again, you're not getting it. What do you mean? What do you mean by history? Like either you're clinically mentally ill or not. And
No,
I'm
what do you
saying,
mean by history? 1 second, Dynasty. Like the kids, both of those kids in Uvalde have been posting threats on social media that they're going to do a school shooting. and they have people come and talk to them about the threats that they posted. The kid in Michigan, a similar thing. The kid in Appalachia or whatever it's called, he had a similar situation. He was unwell.
Elvis, you're all over the place. Those
No, I'm
kids,
telling you, they have a history. These are kids who are posting threats. They've had a behavioral history.
I got Elvis. You're all over the place. Elvis, a kid cannot legally get a gun. Period. Those kids got the guns from their parents. So, are the parents weren't clinically mentally ill, were they?
The parents?
Elvis,
I don't know. I don't know about the parents, right? That's what both of these parents are being charged, or the one in Michigan and the one in Atlanta.
Elvis, you're just babbling now. Delaware, go ahead, Delaware. Go ahead.
Yeah, Elvis, I don't know, bro. I mean,
Yeah,
I see your point.
You guys are good.
Elvis,
I hate to say
I
it.
see.
If it hit closer to home, maybe your tone would be different. So go ahead, no problem.
Elvis, I see your point, and I too would hope or wish these things wouldn't happen, but it's gonna happen. What you gonna do about it? It's reality.
No, that's
Right?
why
And
they're proposing these regulations. That's doing
no,
something about it.
but on
But
the average,
Elvis,
do you know? Okay, let me just say the last thing, Christy. On the average, do you know everybody? I mean, everybody, all of us on this panel right here, at some point in their life, have a down moment, have a depression moment. You see what I'm saying? At some point in our
And
life,
then
we always have a
people
moment.
are at your mercy when you have your down moment because you have a gun that
Listen.
you can lose your mind, kill
Oh
people. That
Lord,
shouldn't be
have
the case,
mercy.
right?
But Elvis, I have a gun. We all probably have guns on this panel right now. We have all down moments before. Does that mean I'm gonna go out and kill somebody? Come on, man.
Of course not, because you don't have a history of mental health. Most people, you would never think about
Oh
going to have a mass
Lord,
shooting because you're in your right mind. You know that's the wrong thing to do.
man, you're going all over the place, bro.
Hey, can I interject
Elvis,
now? Hey, can I get
All
in
right,
there?
bro. I'm gonna drop off. I got something else to do.
All
You
right,
see,
go ahead.
Yeah, can I get in there?
he don't want to stay on it. He just too hot for him, man.
All right,
When
go
you're
ahead.
wrong, you're wrong.
Go ahead, Mr. Sam, man.
Oh yeah, thank you for letting me in there. So yeah, one could also argue that a person who's transgender also has mental health issues as well. So I mean, I guess it's like kind of a straw argument because both the person that's attracted to little children, or who's a homosexual, or who's transgender, we can all say, or who wants to go out and kill a bunch of people, innocent people. We can all argue that these people have mental health issues. Um, so it's like, what are you going to do, right? And all throughout the history of mankind, humans have always been violent. We've been killing each other ever since we got on this planet Earth, and it's not going to change until humans in general just evolve and learn to become more peaceful. But until then, we're just going to continue to be violent. There's ways that you can attempt to slow down the violence because it's in the nature of certain human beings to be violent. And one of the ways that you could temper it is by controlling who has access to guns. But this experiment here in the United States states in the Second Amendment that you um that you have the right to bear arms. So that's the foundation of the law here in the United States. So you can't really take that away. When they rejected Roe versus Wade, it doesn't say anything in the in the Constitution that states that they're supporting abortion. So that's not a foundation of the law here in the United States. So it was the rights of the Supreme Court to pass that down to the states to decide whether or not um, that should be something legally that could be done within the borders of their state or Commonwealth or what have you. So yeah, I think the most pressing issue, me personally, I think the most pressing issue here in the United States as a United States citizen, more than anything, is the economy. And I also believe that uh, global warming is a pressing issue as well. So and water, yeah. So I think those are the most of the pressing issues. And when I listen to these candidates talk, that's the policies that I'm most interested in. Is the policies that I believe that are going to help the not just the American economy but the world economy, and also that's going to move us forward technologically. I think those are the most pressing issues that'll be the most valuable for the citizens of the United States.
Let me read the super chat for free game. Most gun violence are in democratic cities, though. That's the point.
Yeah, most gun violence is in democratic cities because uh, most most big cities are democratic, and I think it's in the nature of larger or highly populated areas to become democratic rather than become Republican. So it's like kind of like a two-edged sword that way. Um, if you look all throughout the entire country, you can't really name one major city other than maybe one or two in Texas that's that's a Republican run. So it's in the nature of the area that has a large population to become Democratic. So
Okay. Oh, woman, you wanted to ask something, woman?
I wanted to ask Elvis a question, but he ran out of here so quickly I didn't get the chance.
No. Yeah.
He never stays around. When you know he's cornered, he always run. He does it every panel. Am I wrong, Dinus?
No, you telling the truth.
Yeah, he always run. He never come in and face the music.
The person that just spoke about the most pressing issue being the economy, 100%, I agree with that. I didn't hear your full discussion. I wanted to hear what your thoughts on the economy and what you think could be done to improve things right now.
Who brought up the economy? Was that you, Miss
hello.
Sam?
Yeah. I mean, I believe that the economy is about to hit a reset. There's a lot of new technology. So all economies, when it comes to economics, is all about new innovation and new technology that pushes the economy. So we're in the cusp of a new economic revolution that's about to happen with a lot of new technology that's about to hit the scene. So I think that any candidate who's willing to support our economy and push it in that direction is the one that's going to be most beneficial for the country in the long term when it comes to economics. So I don't know if y'all keeping it up with like nanotechnology or with Elon Musk is doing with or Nvidia, all of these new technologies that's coming out. If that's what's driving the market right now. All of the top or all of the top businesses in the world are all technology based. You know, we're getting away from a lot of the old technologies like fossil fuels, and as long as we can promote that, then I think that it'll be a beneficial for the overall technology.
Go ahead, Miss Sam. I don't know. Elvis's phone was acting up.
Oh,
But yeah, go ahead, Miss Sam. I'll pass it to the woman. The woman
I'm in the car. That's why I said I had to leave quick.
Elvis, we can't. It's not. Go ahead, Miss Sam. We'll pass it to the woman. The woman can ask her question.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I think we are complaining about a lot of small things here on our level, but a lot of these big guys on the top of the level, whether it be Bill Gates, Elon Musk, all of these guys, they're anticipating a huge economic reset that's about to hit the market. So I don't think there's any way they can stop that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, Trump is trying to get a little piece of the market himself. I'm sure. You know what I mean? He's a businessman too. But yeah, that's where it's headed. And even if you recall, if you watched that debate, one of the telling things that came up, I thought that was really interesting, was that I don't know if this is true, but Kamala Harris stated that Trump was able to negotiate with China because he traded our intellectual property when it comes to microchips. So there's this new microchip technology that's coming out that's going to revolutionize a lot of economic infrastructure worldwide.
Yeah, but Miss Sam,
So
the majority of our chips, and correct me if I'm wrong, Delaware woman, we get our chips from Taiwan, right? That's the largest manufacturer. So I don't.
Yeah, it might
Taiwan.
be. It might get made in Taiwan, but it's still our intellectual property. So in other words, it'll still be our invention or American invention. It'll be invented by American scientists, but it might be manufactured in China. See, I know people that worked in some of those factories that create microchips, and it ain't like they're like geniuses or anything like that. It's like an assembly line where they're creating the microchips. So if it's cheaper for the company to have people in Taiwan, make the material because maybe they have the natural resources to build the material, but it's still our intellectual property. So apparently, they're saying that Trump sold the algorithm to China.
I think Delaware might know more, or a woman. I'm not really aware of that.
During the debate, she did mention something about Trump, and I think Trump did correct her and said exactly what Dinah said, which was that the technology comes, the microchips come from Taiwan. The exact, I don't remember her saying that he sold the intellectual property to China. I would have to look that up. She did mention that, but Trump corrected her when she said it.
Yeah, United States leads the world in when it comes to technology. So there's no way that Taiwan would have access to, that intellectual property before American scientists is. So yeah, that's definitely our intellectual property, and yeah, we're leading the world when it comes to technology in that regard. And China's catching up with us quickly because now they're pushing that technology in their country as well. So yeah, we're in a tug of war to stay on top of economic, being the economic power throughout the world. So that's might be a driving factor in maybe even creating a World War III because China wants to surpass the United States and become the economic power of the world. And of course, us as the United States, they don't want to give up that seat as the most powerful country in the world. And the only way that we might be able to come to some type of resolution might be having to go to war. So yeah, hopefully none of that happens. But yeah, it's technology that drives the economy, not just nationally, but internationally as well.
All right, listen, guys. I'll put the link back in the chat room if you want to call in and add to the conversation. You can. If not, we'll go ahead and close out. The link's in the chat room. We'll take one more caller.
Hey, Dinus?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, only one quick thing I want to say as far as America being the most powerful country, not anymore. America being the leading technology country, not anymore. That ship had sailed.
Okay.
All right. China is turning out millions and millions of engineers every year. So's India, and so forth and so on. So forget about that. As far as military power, forget it. Russia have that upper hand right now. So we might as well forget it. There's no turning back. This economy is going to collapse, whether we like it or not. BRICS going to come and stream. Probably about, we got to wait till after the BRICS session in October or November, when the hell they're having it. They're going to adapt about 30 more countries. Turkey's going to be there. Venezuela, all different type of countries is going to be there. And the hegemony that the U.S. have is done, and it's their fault. It's their fault. They gave it up because of greed and power. So it's over for them. They can't do nothing. There ain't gonna be no damn World War III, because if there's a World War III, just kiss your children and grandchildren goodbye. Okay? It's as simple as that. We can't
I'm
fight
glad.
Russia conventionally.
We cannot fight Russia conventionally because we don't have the manpower and we don't have the military technology like we once was, like we once did. Right? So forget that. So anybody want to hold that? Oh, America gonna this and go have World War III and all kind of shit. And people have to understand what World War III means. World War III means nuclear annihilation. Right? We got about 3,400 400. Russia got about 6,000 and change, and they have hypersonic missiles to deliver it. We don't have hypersonic missile. Russia does, China does, and guess what? Iran have hypersonic missiles. Okay, so there's just no win. There's no such thing as a World War III. I wish people would stop saying that. Right? There's no such thing as a World War III because that shit will be over in about 2 hours. Period. Right? So that's what it is, and it's America's fault. America, them number one to be blamed. Them, because of power and greed that want to control everybody. They want to control everybody military. They want to control everybody government. They want to control everybody economy and resources. But this shit is over. It is over. Period. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Okay. The Toto Kisser. Pause. Go ahead.
Man, first things first, man. You know what I'm saying? Salute to your platform. I know you're about the end. You know, I've been listening to it, and you know, I've been hearing a lot of misinformation. You know, and a lot of times you know, people we don't have the facts. You know, we don't have no fact checker here, so you know, sometimes you know things can go under the bush, under the bush without being seen. But you know, a lot of stuff that you know that Elvira, the lying Liberian, as usual, came up here spouting lies, and then when somebody push him in the corner to get him to explain himself, he runs like the chick he is. You get what I'm saying? That just how that he talks about character. That shows character when you can't stand on your own 10 and defend your rhetoric. Now, and then on top of that, you know what I'm saying, it's just like a person that say, you know what, I'm gonna support. Not saying that he supports a person. That's how you know he's a follower. You get what I'm saying? Because he's not saying that he support a person. He's saying that he's supporting a machine. You know, you got even Republicans that don't agree with a Republican. They'll be like, okay, you know, I don't agree with everything. You know what I'm saying? When I get in there, if the person get elected, I'm still going to use my power to a push agenda that I think is right. But no, not feminine sugar boys like Elvira, the lying Liberian. You know what I'm saying? I support whatever. So basically, when Joe Biden couldn't walk, couldn't see his couldn't tell the difference between his left shoe and his right shoe, he was still gonna vote for him. He was gonna still be like most of these black women that was sitting up there rooting and hollering, saying that they didn't care. Did you see it all over the internet and Instagram, Diners, where women was like, I don't care if somebody's a dead in a wheelchair, I'm still not gonna vote for Trump. Did you hear that rhetoric?
Yeah, of course.
Like, do you think about how ignorant we are as a people that we would say we don't care what type of condition, we don't care, because that's how black people are. Black people just want to see the newest reality TV show. So that's why they thought Kamala Harris won, because she won on the sassiness. She won with the lip popping. She won with the neck rolling. She won with the side eye. You know what I'm saying? Almost like she trying to get Donald Trump to look at her, and he didn't even look at her. And then, then they turned around and presented that like, well, look at her. He couldn't even look a strong black woman in her eye. And then if he would have looked at her, they would have said, look at him trying to intimidate a strong black woman. And it just doesn't make sense to most people. Blue collar working people, black people, and those sugar boys that propping up the black women and the sugar boys that prop up the Democratic Party. They want to see a sassy fest. So they think like getting somebody told is speaking fact. It's just like me if I tell you that the sky is blue and you go on an hour-long hour-long diatribe about You know, how it ain't blue in the word and fat, and I don't say another word, then somebody say, well, Diners won. But you see how he went at Hustle Smart, and nothing that you said was a fact. What I said was a fact, but I kept it clear and concise. But I let you just ramble, and then what black people would think some type of way you won. That's why we're in the position that we are. That's why we're the third minority now. That's why they bringing in, letting 17, 22 million, however many million you want to come in, Latinos, because they want another group of people. Why would they have to do something for a group of people that want to see a sassy fest? Now, let's bring it all the way back to my brother who just dropped down, Mr. Sandman. Man, Mr. Sandman is cool, but one thing he said was a 100% lie. Kamala Harris did not say he sold intellectual property. She actually said sold microchips. See how he tried to, since y'all didn't know any better, you know what I'm saying? That since y'all was ignorant about what she actually said, y'all didn't know. So, but what she actually said, microchips, he said, well, why would we sell them? Why would we sell China microchips when we get our microchips from Taiwan? And then on top of that, what made what Mr. Sandman said sound so crazy that he doesn't even understand what's going on with China and Taiwan. China is trying to take over Taiwan. China is surrounding Taiwan with its ships right now. See, a lot of y'all don't even know what's going on. They're doing military exercises to take over the same way that Vladimir Putin did the exercises on Ukraine before he went in there. So why would Donald Trump sell Chinese? Let's just use Mr. Sandman logic, which is wrong and off. And the brother's cool with me, but right is right, wrong is wrong. Why would Donald Trump sell China the microchips, or like he said, intellectual property? Why would China sell it to Taiwan? If they're claiming that Taiwan is a part of China, that's what's going on right now, Mr. Delroy and Miss Woman. That's what's going on right now. China is trying to say Taiwan is a part of China, so they're trying to bring them back in, and Taiwan is fighting against it. So even if what Mr. Sandman said correct, his logic was off, because when he should have said that he sold it, it would have made more sense if he would have came in here and said that they sold the intellectual property to Taiwan. But the way he said it is like Taiwan can't have no intellectual property, so that had to come from the United States. So therefore, that had to come from China, which makes no sense, because basically China and Taiwan is basically in a Cold War. You know what I'm saying? They're in a little quiet Cold War. If any of y'all look it up, y'all will see what's going on. And that's why Anthony Blinken and Nancy Pelosi, before she left, she flew over there to Taiwan to try to act like America is on their side. But China said, when we get ready to take over Taiwan, that's what we're going to do. It's the same thing with Russia when they took over Ukraine. That's at their back door. You get what I'm saying? So it's the same way if America wanted to go in and take Mexico. Nobody ain't gonna come help Mexico. Nobody. Because Mexico is at our doorstep. Now. I understand a lot of y'all are gonna say, yeah, California used to be Mexico. But hey, Mexico sold it. It is what it is. The United States is the great pimp. You know what I'm saying? And he pimp his hoes accordingly. You know what I'm saying? If they sold it for $5 million, if they sold Alaska for $10 million, if they sold New Orleans for $300,000 and some salt, if they stole slaves, they came over there and got slaves from Africa for three bags of blanket and some fire water. You know what I'm saying? That's just what happened. But the thing about it is that when Kamala Harris said that, he put her on the spot right then and there, and he corrected her and said, we get off from Taiwan. So she's in the White House knowing where the United States get their microchips from, and she still said that stupid shit. That's what didn't make no sense. That's what I was hoping that one of y'all brothers that's way smarter than me was gonna catch. She's in the White House. How she doesn't know How I'm just joking with y'all, man. But what I'm saying is she's in the White House, so she doesn't even know where the chips come from. How could she not know? How can she not know where United States buy their microchip from? Because it's a government program, Dinus. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So therefore, she put that out trying to bait Trump in.
Hold on, real quick. DeToto Kisser. Hold on. Fitzgerald Stevens has been peddling this conspiracy theory for the past 2 years. You and Brandon on it.
Fitzgerald.
He's been peddling the same conspiracy theory for the past 2 years that you
Fitzgerald, my brother from Alabama, you know what I'm saying? The difference between me and Brandon is that I'm more cutthroat than Brandon. You get what I'm saying? And Brandon has a tendency to don't listen to other people. You get what I'm saying? He just come on and he'll just he's like the dog that just bark. No matter, he don't want to hear nobody. I'm the type of person, Fitzgerald, I'll actually listen. See, I'll let you get in the corner with all the rope you got. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll come in and grab the rope and hang yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I am. I'm more concise with my jugging, with my digging, with my chopping you across the neck, so to speak. That's the difference between me and Brandon. And on top of that, I'm not a 100%, everything Trump do is great and everything the Democrats do is bad. I call out Republicans when they say something that don't make sense, but I call out the Democrats. I just know that what we've been going through with the Democrat Party for 60, 70 years and ain't getting nothing. And the only people that getting anything is Dinah's homeboys, the Boulay brothers. And the
Go ahead, simply. Go ahead.
The Divine Nine and the Pinky swearers and the Zeta Phi Betas. You get what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And then and the noobs. I got my first cousin is a noob. He's a high level. He used to be the regional manager of the United States, the post office in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? He was the safety regional manager. You know what I'm saying? Real high level. He's a noob. So, you know what I'm saying? But those type of people are the ones, those are the gatekeepers. Those are the ones that getting the trinkets from the Democratic Party. The rest of us ain't getting nothing. You know what I'm saying? They just want you to be a employee. But the problem is that the nation is changing. The way the world is going is you have to be more technologically savvy. And at the end of the day, black people are not. You just picking up your phone, scanning through, looking for Pornhub at xxnxx.com. That's not being technological savvy. Getting on Instagram, getting on Facebook, that's not where it's at. The thing about it is Latinos are more coachable. I'm telling you, Diners, I have watched them. They are more coachable. They don't have no attitudes when they come to forums. They don't have no egos or anything. They operate on a pecking order. You can't even get 6 black people, you know what I'm saying, to agree what type of seasoning we want to put in the collard greens. You get what I'm saying? Just simple things you can't even get black people to agree upon. And get what I'm saying? So what would society, you know what I'm saying, that we feel like is a deep state, that got a secret organization, why would they bet their money on if I was a part of the secret organization, if I was a part of the quote unquote Illuminati, why would I bet on black people? We kill each other. We don't like each other. You're separated amongst genders. You have no money in the bank. You don't own houses. You don't own businesses as a majority. And on top of that, your women has the loudest voice. That means that the women are directing the younger generation. And if women continue to raise up the younger generation, you're going to just keep having feminine, sassy men. And you don't have to give feminine, sassy men nothing but a platform. but every other group of people saying, look, you give us this amount of money. We got this organization already in play. The Latinos have like 4 or 5 organizations that we put this in play. We follow them. Black people, we don't follow no black caucus. It's no type of black. It's no, black people don't even know. If you ask a black person, you put a gun to a black person's head and say, hey, take me to an NAACP forum or office building, a black person will be dead on sight. But when you ask those Latinos, they have the cards. They have the cards in their wallets, Dinus. This is my representative. This is who you talk to. These people helping them get lawyers. They got real estate. They got renters for renters, real estate, employment, all that. And they follow that because they follow a pecking order. We don't. So therefore, they'll use us until we gracefully bow out just to get the vote. But the Latinos is a better people to work with. I swear to white Jesus, if I ever had a business and I need to hire 100 people, I swear to white Jesus, 99.9 I'm gonna be Latinos. I would hire one black person just for the diversity. Let me finish that right. Let me finish
what is
that
your
right, and
point as far as
then you
black
can come
people?
on there and say whatever you want to say. So
Give somebody else a chance,
I ain't
bro.
gonna do the
Give
feminine shit
somebody
with your
else a
old
chance.
ass. I ain't gonna
Give
do no
somebody
feminine
else a
shit with your
chance to
old
talk.
ass. You get what I'm
That's
saying?
all right.
So if you don't listen, you sit up here been running your mouth talking. You
I
had the
talk a
nerve to come
few
on. You
minutes,
had the
bro.
nerve.
I
To come on
talk
this
a few
man
minutes.
All right,
platform.
now
Smart.
okay,
Shut
here
up.
we
How's
go.
smart?
Here we
How's
go.
smart?
That's what I'm saying.
Here we go.
How's
I'm
smart?
gonna finish
How's
talking
smart?
because I ain't gonna let him.
What,
I ain't gonna let him
I'm not gonna
overtalk
let him
me,
talk.
bro.
You're gonna have to Danny's gonna
Hold on 1 second. D Toto Kisser, you got 1 more minute, then I'll pass it to Delroy. You got 1 minute.
I appreciate it, but I
You
ain't
got
finna
1
let
minute. I'm cutting you
old.
out that 1 minute. Go.
I got you. I ain't finna let no old miserable
All
Negro
right,
that sat up here. I got you.
no, we're not
Hey,
doing it. No, we're not
hey,
doing it. We're not doing
that came on somebody's platform,
no,
sitting up here smacking it.
we not. Listen, just get to your point. I'm gonna pass
Hey,
it.
I thought I had a minute, bro. I thought I had a
But
minute.
we're not going back. I don't want that. We ain't going back.
Hey, I'm not going back, but I at least have them enough respect to come on somebody's platform and not eat and be smacking while I'm eating.
Oh,
I'm not talking about me, Dinah. Dinah, I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about nobody else. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't come over here drinking, smacking, and eating. But anyway, let me finish my point. So it's a reason. So it don't matter what I'm saying, Dinah. Me, you, and the smart black people saw Joe Biden get on a platform with the Black Caucus, and he told them out his mouth and told them that y'all better start paying attention to the Latinos. They're gonna be the new what's up. They're where we're gonna focus our attention. So damn what Hustle Smart say. And my last 10 seconds is gonna be a question to you, Dinah. Did Joe Biden, not Hustle Smart, did Joe Biden tell the Black Caucus who they need to focus on and who was up next? Yes or no?
He said they need to start meeting and partnering with the Latino community because they're next.
Did he say anything about black people?
No.
Was he talking to black people?
He was talking to black people, but he told them
Did he say anything about black and brown coalition?
No.
Did the word black even come out his mouth?
No.
And I rest my case.
All right, go ahead, Delroy.
Well,
go ahead, Delroy.
Yeah, I don't know. Pastor Small, let me just say one thing to you, bro.
And 1 second. And the Toto Kisser, don't interrupt. Let him talk. Because you're not doing
hold on, you wouldn't let me say nothing about him.
Man,
He ain't got to say anything. Let him stick to the point then.
Well, no, because you and Brian is the same thing. You always, I'm gonna get to your old ass. Let me tell you something, Hustle Smart, before I go any further. The type of work that I do, you and Brian could never do. You could never do, even at my age, you could never do. That's period, right? As far as every minute you guys come out here, black people this, black people that. You don't need to be on this platform if you have no solution or you have nothing good to say. What's it? You gonna hire Latino, white? Then do it. You don't have to announce it. You don't want to promote black people in any way, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to hire whoever the hell you want to hire, right? But this is an African-centered platform, so you don't need to be on here. Go on the black bashing platform,
I
right?
appreciate that. Continue.
Now, as far as we was talking about what Kamala Harris and Trump was talking about, I didn't listen to it because every time Kamala Harris opened her mouth, right, I change the channel because I don't want to hear what she want to say, right? But that's besides the point. I want to know if both you, Hustle Smart, Dinus, and everybody else that's listening to this are not shocked that so many white people is supporting Kamala Harris. You talking about it's black people? This is black. No. It's not black people that's going to put her over, right? Because I know I may know 2 black people that's going to vote for Kamala Harris. You guys keep saying the black this and black that. Black women, you seen black women supporting Kamala Harris? Yes, they are. But what about them other black women that's not supporting her? Huh? My mother is a longtime Democrat. She's voting for Trump. And she voted for Trump the last time, right? And a lot of black women is voting for Trump. Why don't you listen to what they have to say? Everything is all the black women is this, black women is that. What about the black men that's voting for Kamala Harris? Huh? And again, I'm gonna say, aren't you guys shocked to see how many goddamn white people is supporting Kamala Harris?
Don't worry, if I can interject, I don't see Kamala getting as much white support as Hillary Clinton.
Because he's seat
But
down.
what I'm saying, I'm saying, how the hell is she getting so much? She's getting a lot right now. That's what I'm saying.
That
You see?
doesn't even make sense, bro.
Man, House of Smart, shut the fuck up, man. Okay, let
So
me talk. You better don't make sense. I'm telling you what's going on. I'm telling you what's going on. Okay?
No back and forth. Go ahead, Del.
I'm telling you what's going on. Okay? There's a lot of fucking white people supporting Kamala. A whole lot. Okay? And as far as black people, you talking about you think Democrats gonna get the 80% and 90% of black vote like they did in the past? This not gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? It's not gonna happen. Look at the polls, bro. Look at the poll. There's only about 13%. There's about 13% black people in America. There's about 13% black people in America.
What is your point, though?
Okay. My point is, there's a lot. You keep putting all this shit on black people, but my point is, there's a lot of white people supporting Kamala. That's what I'm saying.
What is he talking about, bro? I have no idea what he's talking about.
What the fuck you mean? What I'm not talking about?
You want to know why? You want to know why? What he's saying? Just another senile old Negro talking is because.
Oh man, Smart nigga, bitch, bro. I got your senile. I got your senile,
Let me tell you
bro.
something, bro. At least I got enough respect not to curse you out, bro. That just shows how senile and deranged you are. You get what I'm saying? I can disagree with you. Hold on, Darren. Right? Hold on, Darren. Right? I can disagree with you without cursing you, bro. Because I got enough time
answer
to
my
think.
question. Answer my question.
Can I finish talking?
Answer my question.
Can I finish talking, bro?
Am I wrong or what? Am I wrong?
All I'm saying
the polls is almost
all
tied.
I'm saying is that I haven't cursed out nobody. So even the person that cursed me out,
yeah, but
you're not gonna
come and call me all kind of fucking names, bro.
All I'm saying is that I ain't cursed you. I called you senile because I think you senile, and that's just what I think. That's my opinion. But I ain't gonna, hold on, but let me finish.
Your opinion is fucking stupid. And I just told you can't do the type of work I do.
Come on, bro. Stop being
you
feminine.
You cannot do the type of work I do.
Feminine.
Okay, listen,
stop being feminine. Man, he's a little fucking bitch, bro. I saw you fucking senile.
Delroy.
I got your senile, motherfucker.
Delroy. Let's move. You got 1 minute. Hustle Smart. Do not.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Go ahead,
I appreciate that. Hey, man, so hopefully you do the same thing for him when he mentioned mine, because I ain't got to mention his name at all.
Okay,
so,
don't worry, you got 1 minute.
No, let me finish. Let me finish.
Let him finish, Dennis.
Okay,
go ahead, finish.
Talking? Go ahead. Let him finish. So he just repeating himself, but go ahead.
What? Dennis, I'm speaking to you, bro, and sensible people that's listening, right?
Go ahead.
What's the percentage of black people in America? About 13%?
Okay.
Right. The polls show the polls show that Trump is probably leading by 1 or 2 points, right? Is that what they have out there?
In the popular election, yes, which is
Right.
very well.
So
Hold on,
how
wait,
would
wait,
how would
wait,
what,
let
what,
me let me finish. In the popular election, yes, it's very rare for a Republican president. Very rare.
Exactly. He don't know no better.
Dinas, my point is, right? My point is, people are saying, some people are saying, like Hustle Smart are saying, some people at Hustle Smart are saying, it's black people, it's black people, it's black people. There's a lot of white people that's voting for Kamala Harris.
Well, of course there were, but my point is, I do not, the way the polls are, okay, because you have to understand, in 2016 when Trump won, in the popular vote, Trump was down by like 7-8% in the popular vote. He's up by 1%. So again, I don't see Kamala Harris getting more of the white vote than Hillary Clinton.
No, I didn't say. No, I didn't say she was getting the majority. I didn't say that. I'm saying for her to even be close. You see what I'm saying? To Trump, she's getting a lot of white votes. That's what I said. I didn't say she's getting the most.
Yeah, but what I'm okay. So in 2016, when Trump won, in the polls, Hillary Clinton was up by like 5-6% in the overall.
No, she was up by 8%, Dinas.
By 8%. Trump is up by 1%. So he's getting. Trump.
He don't understand polls, man. He don't understand it.
Dinas, just listen to what I'm saying. Maybe what I'm saying is a little bit confusing. What I'm saying, put it this way then: as a black woman, are you not shocked that she's getting so much white votes? That's what I'm saying. As a black, not as a Democrat, as a black woman.
No,
let me put it that way then.
Well, I'm not a black woman, but as a black woman, I would be. I think black women are going to be upset, the ones that are team Kamala, that white, just like in 2016, that white women didn't come out and support.
Exactly. Daddy, don't steal my minute, Thunder, man. Can I go, please?
No, let me finish, then you could talk. What I'm saying, Dinas, right? When Kamala Harris was running for president, she was nowhere to be found. Right? She was nowhere to be found. Look how much people, including billionaires, right? Hedge funds like who endorsed her the other day. You see what I'm saying? Aren't you surprised that a black woman is getting this type of support?
Well, but
from white people. That's what I'm saying.
Bro. Oh, don't worry. There's this interview I watched yesterday, and this guy explains why Kamala's getting the vote. The reason why Kamala, in fact, you know what? Let me pass it to D Toto Kiss and then the Marie.
Please.
And then okay, because you got 2 minutes. No one interrupt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The reason
hold on, let me finish. Then I'm gonna pass it to Marie, and then I'm gonna play this interview. And this guy breaks down why people are behind Kamala.
I'm gonna do it for him. The reason why Kamala is getting what she's getting now and she wasn't getting then because the Democratic Party wasn't pushing her. They was all for Biden. They was all for Biden. The reason why she's getting what she's getting now because of all the donations was for Joe Biden, and they said they was gonna hold him up and not give him to Joe Biden anymore because they saw he was a wounded animal. She just got thrown in a position. It doesn't matter who would have been up there. You know what I'm saying? That they would have got what they got. That's why they held the money. That's why they had the largest amount of money coming. That was just the money that they held out. Dinas, do you remember when Joe Biden, after the debate, all those people started saying they wasn't going to give any money. They wasn't donating anymore. The money was freezing up. They were saying that the money was drying up. The money didn't dry up. The super PACs was just holding their money back. So that's what happened. So you got 500 million come in, and she's just a plant. That's why she's getting. And then let me explain something to y'all black people that there's a reason why they call black people the low information voters. Case in point, that white people heavy on Democrats. It's a lot of white people that just like Elvira, the Lion Liberian. They voted for the Democratic platform. They ain't voting for Kamala Harris. They trying to get the Senate and the House. Kamala Harris is up. They know she's not gonna win. They're planting her up so that they can get the House in the Senate. They're vying for 2028, Diners. Donald Trump right now have 3 of the biggest 4 issues. Let me help you out, Diners, for a second. He got immigration. He got the economy. You know what I'm saying? And he got the strength factor as a man. The only issue that Kamala has is abortion. That's it. You cannot win no president on no single issue. But you got these sugar boys that sit up there impressed by MSNBC and hearing how they propping her up on the news station. Y'all letting the news station. It's the same way, Diners, that they don't even talk about COVID-19. But you know what, Diners? I still have this government app that's going on right now, Diners. COVID-19 still is going. People still are contracting it, and people are still is dying. But you know why it ain't a national emergency, Diners? Because they ain't putting it on TV no more.
Okay, all right.
But the numbers, this is the last 10 seconds, but the numbers are still going up. It's the perception, and black people are the easiest to fool with when it comes to news and the media. And I pass the mic.
All right, let me pass to the Marie, and I'm gonna play this clip. And this guy explains perfectly why Kamala is getting the support that she's getting all of a sudden. Go ahead, Marie.
Hello. Yeah, I just wanted to say Hustle Smart is right about the COVID cases because I have COVID cases at my
I
job.
appreciate that, Miss Maria Shaw.
Yeah, I have COVID cases at my job, and we have to wear like the surgical mask, but if we go into a COVID residence room, we have to wear the N95 mask. But I just wanted to say that. Oh God, what I want to talk about. I wanted to talk about the flights to like Africa, and I don't understand, like, I mean, like if I like booked a flight to the UK or something, it will be a lot cheaper. But for some reason, the prices like going to Sierra Leone, it's like $1,600. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and it's not and it's not that I can't afford it. I mean, I'm a nurse, I make decent money, but it's still high. Like I'm just like, oh my God, like, and it's a shame. It's a shame. And then these different flights, they're not flying to different African countries anymore. I just think it's crazy. So I don't know.
Well, the reason why the prices are up in Sierra Leone is because they added those taxes at the airport because they got to pay for that new airport. But let me play this video real quick. This guy, we're gonna watch this whole 13-minute clip. This guy breaks it down perfectly why Kamala is getting the support she's getting now.
He did. I seen it.
We spoke at the start of the year. I said it was way too close to November to switch anybody out. Turns out that I was wrong.
Beginner's luck.
You said, what are the odds that Joe Biden has a debilitating event between now and November, including death? So he runs a 1 in 20 chance of dying in any given year or above, that I don't think you know whether he's even going to make it to November. Debilitating event could have been a debilitating public event.
I purposely left it vague, and I didn't say the other part of it, which I now feel comfortable saying, which is I don't know whether Donald Trump will be allowed to become president.
What do you mean by that?
I think that there's a remarkable story, and we're in a funny game, which is, are we allowed to say what that story is? Because to say it, to analyze it, to name it, is to bring it into view. I think we don't understand why the censorship is behaving the way it is. We don't understand why it's in the shadows. We don't understand why our news is acting in a bizarre fashion. So let's just set the stage, given that was in February. There is something that I think Mike Benz has just referred to as the rules-based international order. It's an interlocking series of agreements, tacit understandings, explicit understandings, clandestine understandings about how the most important structures keep the world free of war and keep markets open. And there has been a system in place, whether understood explicitly or behind the scenes or implicitly, It says that the purpose of the two American parties is to prune the field of populist candidates so that whatever two candidates exist in a face-off are both acceptable to that world order. So what you're trying to do from the point of view, let's take it from the point of view of, let's say, the State Department, the intelligence community, the Defense Department, and major corporations that have to do with international issues, from arms trade to, I don't know, food. They have a series of agreements that are fragile and could be overturned if a president entered the Oval Office who didn't agree with them, and the mood of the country was, why do we pay taxes into these structures? Why are we hamstrung? Why aren't we a free people? So what the two parties would do is that they would run primaries. You'd have populist candidates, and you'd pre-commit the populist candidates to support the candidates who won the primaries. As long as that took place and you had two candidates that were both acceptable to the international order, that is, that they aren't going to rethink NAFTA or NATO or what have you, we called that democracy. And so democracy was the illusion of choice, what's called magician's choice, where the choice is not actually, pick a card, any card, but somehow the magician makes sure that the card that you pick is the one that he knows. In that situation, you have magician's choice in the primaries, and then you'd have the duopoly field two candidates, either of which was acceptable, and you could actually afford to hold an election. And the populace would vote, and that way the international order wasn't put at risk every 4 years, because you can't have alliances that are subject to the whim of the people in plebiscites. So under that structure, everything was going fine until 2016. And then the first candidate ever to not hold any position in the military nor position in government in the history of the Republic to enter the Oval Office, Donald Trump, broke through the primary structure. So then there was a full court press. Okay, we only have one candidate that's acceptable to the international order. Donald Trump will be under constant pressure that he's a loser, he's a wild man, he's an idiot, and he's under the control of the Russians. And then he was going to be a 20-1 underdog, and then he wins. And there was no precedent for this. They learned their lesson. You cannot afford to have candidates who are not acceptable to the international order and continue to have these alliances. This is an unsolved problem. So I don't have a particular dog in this fight. I, one, believe in democracy. I also believe in international agreements. And it is the job of the State Department, the intelligence community, and the Defense Department to bring this problem in front of the American people and say, we have a problem. You don't know everything that's going on. And if you start voting in populist candidates, you're going to end up knocking out load-bearing walls that you don't understand.
But Trump was in office for 4 years. Did he turn the entire table upside down?
He risked doing that.
Say more.
You remember that there was this uncomfortable accommodation given to the Central Intelligence Agency at the beginning of his actual term. There was a question about, was he going to question I have a very different point of view than most of my friends who are also, at least nominally Democrats, which is, it was a very immoral thing that was done to him. He was asked the question, will you pre-commit that you will accept the results of an election? Now, if you were going to rig an election, you would ask somebody that to begin with, and that's part of the game. And he says, well, we'll see. So you have this very strange thing going on where democracy is the greatest threat to democracy. Now, how can that be? It's two different concepts of democracy. One concept of democracy is the will of the people. You hold plebiscites. And even if you do it with an electoral college or political parties, the idea is that the people are allowed, by and of and for the people. The other idea of democracy is that democracy is about institutions that sprang from democracy once upon a time, and that those institutions have to be kept strong. Those are two completely different concepts that are overloaded to the same word. Under that circumstance, we have a paradox, which is, how do we keep the electorate from overturning the type A democracy from overturning the type B democracy? And that's the unsolved problem that they will not bring in front of the people. So what you have is a situation in which I believe that there are many people in Washington, D.C. who think that Donald Trump cannot become president because he can now go for broke. He's also not going to try to run for re-election. He's relatively unconstrained. He's wealthy. He's learned how to play a lot of these games.
And maybe got a little bit of an axe to grind as well after the last 6 years.
No kidding. And he's a wild card. You know, there are three people who are doing amazing versions of the drunken boxing game. Kanye, who's probably the first one to really fail, Elon, and Donald Trump. And all three of them tried to do something where you couldn't pin them down. You couldn't figure out like what they were going to do next. And that's what the order is keeps trying to do. Like, will you commit to this? Will you say this? Will you mouth these words? And none of these people would play the game. I find this all. You ever see Emmanuel Augustus, this boxer who actually, you know, I think Floyd Mayweather said it was his toughest opponent because he wouldn't fight in the style that anyone could recognize. Probably the most
unpredictable.
Yeah, and the most entertaining boxer I've ever seen in my life. I mean, just check out any highlight reel and you won't even believe this is real. It doesn't seem possible. So that's what Donald Trump is. He's a guy who's got formulas that confuse people like Sam Harris. You know, Sam and I have been debating this for years. I think that Trump is an incredibly intelligent man and that there's incredible method in his tweets of old. You could put them into a data set and you say that there are 5 or 6 different types of tweets and that the left falls for every one of them every time. So in this situation, you have a question. How is it that Donald Trump and RFK Jr. cannot possibly reach the Oval Office and we have to have a candidate who is pre-subscribed to perpetuating these institutions, these agreements, and these orders? And there's only 1 out of 3 who has that character, and that person has not won a primary. Right now, we have no idea who's running the United States of America. I just came here in a Tesla, and I did not steer once. And I would say America is in full self-driving mode, and we don't know what the AI is that's running the Oval Office. And that's really bizarre, given that we have something like 6 minutes to make a decision about nuclear launches. We have no idea what the United States government in the executive branch actually is. But it can't be Joe Biden.
Every time it seems that an election has happened over the last decade or so, it's always been, this one is different. This is the most important. This is the most important. Is there something different about the one that we're about to go into? How should we think about this election?
As World War II unraveling, the order that has produced the illusion of peace for this length of time. Imagine that you were, let's say in the 2000s, that you had this thing called the Great Moderation. And there was a story that we had finally banished volatility from the markets. None of that was true. What you were doing was you were going farther and farther into a regime without understanding that sooner or later the Jenga tower has to collapse. The order that was put in place at the end of World War II, none of its architects are still alive. Very few pieces of information were passed down about what it actually is or how it functions because it's secret. And I think what you can say is that we are now living on the fumes built from that victory. That is what is unraveling. You're about to head towards a multipolar world where the game theory in a dyadic game of 2 players doesn't look remotely like the game theory in a 5 or 10 player game. So Kamala is essentially the youngest boomer possible, and she's tied to the last silent generation president we'll ever have, which was a bizarre thing to begin with. And she's pre-committed to trying to continue that order in the guise of a alternatively woke, Wall Street friendly, Indian black, folksy. I don't even know what she is. To quote the great Chris Williamson, she's a meme of a meme of a meme. That was from our last talk. And I would say this is probably the most insane election we've ever seen by a comfortable margin. I would say that there's no one in second place. I can't think of another election that is even close to this bizarre. including the attempted assassination on Donald Trump.
I've been using my 8 Sleep mattress.
All right, so I think he explained it pretty well.
But you know what, though, Diners, what people don't understand is that I don't think people really understand how politics work. Is that the whoever supports the machine gonna get votes. It's plenty of white Democrats. So why wouldn't she? You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't she get their votes? You get what I'm saying? They're not voting for Kamala. They're voting against Trump. Do you understand that point, Diners?
Right.
So it could have been, you could have got up there as the Democratic person, you know what I'm saying, as the Democratic nominee, and white people would have voted for you. And they still, what I'm telling you, Diners, is whatever they was going to say about Trump, they was going to say about Trump, whoever the nominee. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
So therefore, so I want people to say that, okay, Hustle Smart, you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Look, I want you to answer me this. Did she beat Donald Trump on immigration?
No.
Does she beat him on the economy?
No. Can't.
She can't. Right there. That's 2. Does she beat him on international policies as far as the wars that's going on right now?
America's international foreign policy has been absolutely terrible.
So therefore, they already got the polls. See, this is what I'm trying to understand. See, Derek thought I was calling him names. I wasn't just saying. It's just like if you call somebody ignorant and they take offense of it. See, you could call me ignorant because I think ignorant just means you don't know. So I don't get offended about. Get offended by it at all. Donald Trump has the polls on immigration, foreign policy, and the economy. What is the only policy that she has, Dinus?
Abortion.
That's it.
And I'm sorry. Charlottesville, January 6th.
But that's not even a policy. That's not even a policy at all. The people trust Trump with immigration. People trust Trump with the economy. People trust Trump with foreign affairs. That's just period. That's just the majority of people do. So how in the hell can she win off of just one issue, which is abortion? Because contrary to most people believe, all women don't want to kill their babies. And then it's the funny thing where they always say Hustle Smart talking about the black people. Diners, if black people make up 13%, then why is black women number 1 in abortions? How does that happen, Diners? But you got all these white women out here marching for abortion, right? Like okay, Diners, I'm a guerrilla hustler. I'm from the mean streets of Bankhead, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing, but I understand eating, and I understand not eating. I understand living, and I understand dying. That's what one thing the streets teach you. So riddle me this, Diners. All these white women crying in the streets talking about abortion, right? They talking about incest, the health of the mother, you know what I'm saying? All of that stuff, the health of the baby. That's what they in the streets crying about, right?
Right.
Why is black women number 1 at abortions and white women are not?
That's a good question. That's a good. I wish a woman. Can you respond to this? Is you're a woman?
Give me 1 minute, please.
I didn't understand what you
I
said.
hear
Go ahead.
that she said.
I didn't either. Go ahead.
So when she come in, I'll stop talking. That right there, Dinus, as a hustler, that doesn't make sense. In the streets, we have this term, we call it the Kansas City shuffle or the Kansas City hustle. That means that you get somebody looking one way, prepping yourself up another way while somebody is stabbing you in your back while smiling. It's the equivalent of somebody stealing something from you, Dinus, and coming in helping you look for it. How can white women outnumber black women? I think they outnumber black women 4-1, Dinus. 4-1. They earn more money, black woman. I think it's like $6 to $1. They're out here fighting for abortion like no other. Why is black women out beating them? Numbers are higher at Planned Parenthood than they are. White girls go down to college and bust it wide open, bang up the whole Phi Beta Sigmas, bang up all sororities, don't come back pregnant. My daughter goes to college right now, and she told me that half of the girls in her freshman class came up pregnant and left school. Black girls came up pregnant and left school, while the white girls banging up everybody and they coming up pregnant, leaving with 4 years degrees. So it's like they say, Dinus, black women are the most enrolled, but they're not the ones that's graduating. And I'm just telling you that's from my own daughter. But besides that, get back to the abortion that she has. The only thing about it is that black women is still number one. And Dinus, even in cities, even in states where it's predominantly white, black women is still outnumbering abortion in those states, Dinus. How in the hell is that? How does that even happen, Dinus? But it's just like the liquor store thing. They got liquor stores in Buckhead. They got liquor stores in Alpharetta, Dinus. White people buy liquor too. See, the difference is, Dinus, white people buy expensive liquor. Black people buy cheap liquor. So that means that they buy it more of an abundance. So
if I can interject real quick, listen, links in the chat room, if you want to call in and if you have numbers that disprove what the Toto Kiss is saying, and I mean, you're more than welcome to call in. All right, go ahead.
Dennis, have you ever noticed that the people are, because, you know, I listen, y'all, I know y'all like me. I know I'm the people's champ. You know what I'm saying? I'm the Bernie Mac of this shit. I say the things that you wish you could say. You just can't articulate it the way I can. And then I come from the bottom. So you hear the hustle in my voice. See, you don't hear no man that bows down. You hear a man that stand on this 10. I am a black nationalist, but I can see where the black race is going, Dinus. You get what I'm saying? The businessman in me see where the black race is going. I wish that every black person can hit the mega million and become millionaires, become entrepreneurs. That just ain't the way that we going. I see the way that the Latinos is going. Dinus, you in the tourist field. I'm in transportation. So you know what I see. I see the Latinos is outpacing us. Now, they don't compete against me because the profession that I am, you just can't bring nobody off the street and do it. You got to get trained and you got to have a tenure. You get what I'm saying? To get these accounts, to get these, they don't give the Latinos those bonding companies as an individual. They give it to them as a group. But I could get my bonding done. But if you notice, Dinus, everybody that come up here and call Hustle Smart a name, they don't call me a liar. They don't refute what I say. They just don't like what I say because black people got this infinity with itself. There's some of that kings and queens shit. It ain't nowhere in the world all of us came from kings and queens, Diners. How many kings and queens they had in Africa? They brought 8 million to us. We all came from 8 million kings and queens? The hell is that? Everybody that come from a chief. Some of the people that came from Africa was conquered, was a tribe that another tribe bounced on and pounced on. They was prisoners from confrontations and wars and disputes. There was people that were sold to servitude.
Let woman speak. Go ahead.
Yeah,
woman.
go ahead. We were waiting on you.
Okay, I had asked you guys to give you a minute. So I wanted to research what you were saying because I didn't have the numbers out right, and I didn't want to, be ignorant. So I'm looking at some numbers from KFF.org. Basically, the in the United States, the percentage of white women having abortions, the percent of abortions by race, 30% white, 42% black, Hispanic 22%, and other 7%. I can't explain why the numbers are what they are.
Woman, before you even continue, is that not scary to you that it's 42%?
It is scary. It is. You're right. I agree with you. But I don't think that we can be 100% sure that the numbers are correct. Because remember, a big part of how they galvanize Black people to vote on any issue is by saying, quote unquote, this is going to affect Black and brown people more than anybody else. So it makes sense. It would seem to be that they would want to have us believe that because Black women are having more abortions, that Black women need to support the abortion issue because it's going to affect them more. Anytime the Democratic Party wants to push an issue, they want to push something, they know that Black women are great at getting together and getting the job done. They always want to make it seem as though this is a big issue for Black women. So I can't 100% say that the information is incorrect, but I cannot also say that it's incorrect. Remember, we're depending on Planned Parenthood and other clinics to report these numbers to census and everywhere else. So we don't know if it really is as bad as they're saying. For all we know, it could be just about even between the two races. For all we know, it could be that Black women are doing it less. We don't know that for sure.
Yeah, but but see, let me tell you what you just did, woman. And I respect you in all your splendor. But what you did right there, you were disingenuous at the end. You read a fact, you read a statistic because you didn't like the statistic. You added the what, the if, the maybe, the probably, and all of that to it, Dinus. Dinus, when is Black people gonna stop looking at facts that don't see them in a good light, push back on those, but the ones that represent, that see us in a good light, then we say those are true? When are we gonna stop doing that, Dinus? Come on, Dinus. I mean, you know what? I'm not gonna be a contrarian right now. I'm just gonna be honest. Like the thing about Planned Parenthood is almost like a census. It's a medical program. If they was fudging the numbers, they have these programs that will stop that they would lose their license, Dinus. It's the same thing as tax. If they was fudging the numbers to make Black women look like they having 42% and they're not, they would lose their license. Why would they risk their business?
Actually, if I could say something about Planned Parenthood and other abortion clinics, they're not as strictly regulated as you would think. That's the first thing. And secondly, I actually would like to research what you're saying, and I don't think any of us can say this definitively because you most likely did not have an abortion. You're a male, and I definitely don't have the experience.
Nothing to do with it.
No, my point is, no, what I'm saying is we don't know what the process is of reporting race, right? So it's when a person goes to have an abortion, are they asking them on paper to put their race down, or how are they getting those numbers? That's what I'm saying. It's important when you look at statistics, you have to look at the full picture. I'm not disagreeing with you that there's a lot that the Black community needs to correct, and the abortion issue is one of them. I agree with you on that part of it. But what I'm saying is we can also not deny the fact that we don't know how the numbers are being reported. As I stated, the Democratic Party likes to make everything seem as though it's an emergency for Black people because it's going to affect us the worst. And so it makes sense that they would make the numbers look like this is a big issue for Black women.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. That doesn't make sense at all. Everything, even what you tried to church it up, you tried to TD Jakes it up, Creflo Dollar up at the end and say, we can't say this and we can't say this. A fact is a fact, a statistic is a statistic. Abortion is a medical procedure. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you at all when you was talking. Not at all. It is a medical procedure that has to be put in correctly. That information is put in Black, but you know they put in there when you go to the hospital, any type of medical procedure, you have to put down your race. That's how, can I please finish? That's how these certain be programs and these clinics and around the city, especially in Atlanta, Diners, gets their funding. See, I don't know if you remember this, Diners, about 6 years ago. That's how when they were saying that we wasn't getting the funding that we need in the areas off of they wanted to put the clinics over our Bankhead, and they was like, well, we don't put in the clinics because all of the people was going to Grady. So therefore, it made it seem like the area didn't need clinics because everybody was busing. They was getting free rides and they was getting free Uber rides to Grady. So do you see what I'm saying, Dinah? So Grady was getting more than funded. But when they changed the rules, that's why some of the clinics are in that area now, because of the Black people went to this area and they did the zoning and made those clinics. Now they have one right on Bankhead, right down the street from the new Bankhead Seafood, Dinah. You get what I'm saying? saying? But we know they put
Hey,
that stuff down.
it's not open yet though. Bankhead
Now, it's not. It's what, Bankhead Seafood?
It's not open. Did it open yet?
No, it's not open yet. But the clinic up from that is. It's like it's like a little bit further up from it. It's open, but it's at a church though. They don't have their own building. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, but what I'm saying is that this is what it is, and what she's trying to do is trying to make it seem like because the facts are not in our favor, then we got to put some pushback on it.
If I can, not to interrupt, because I really want the woman to speak on women issues. But so, Mojo, are you saying that white women were lying and calling into these clinics and saying they were black, or going to the clinics again? Emoji, I don't understand your statement. So you're saying that the white women were lying about their race?
Or she's saying that the place is lying. I think she's saying that the place is lying.
Yeah, white women were mostly not using their real name and certainly not their real race. So are you saying white women are lying and saying that they were black?
Is that question for me?
No. There is a comment in the chat room when you brought up the abortion statistics that they might be slanted because white women were lying and not giving their real name or their race. So I'm asking, or were the white women saying they were black? Is that why the numbers are high? I mean, I'm just kind of confused.
No, what I'm saying is that this stuff is self-reported, right? If you, like he said, when you go to the doctor's office or wherever you go, you have to fill out the form and they ask you to fill out your race. You don't have to fill that out. So let's say a doctor's office or an abortion clinic, right, has 20 patients for that day. 10 of them are white, 10 of them are black. All 10 of the black patients fill out their race as black, but of the 10 white patients, only 2 fill out their race as white. Those numbers are slanted because the 8 white women did not fill their race out, right? Okay. So we don't know their race. So that's what I'm saying. When you look at statistics, you have to look at the entire picture. I don't know if you ever taken a statistics class, but I have. And one of the first things that I remember my professor saying this to us in class. When the rates of ice cream sales increase, the rates of murders increase as well. And he asked us, what do we think about that? What does that mean? Well, what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything because we don't have all the facts. And at the end of that conversation, what was concluded was, well, during the summertime, people are buying more ice cream, so the rates of ice cream sales goes up. But also during the summertime, people are outside more, they're interacting more, there's a lot of music, there's more partying, more drinking, and all those things can lead to increase in murder rates. It does not mean that because ice creams cause murder. And the whole point of the conversation, I'm telling you guys that information to say that statistics is not as black and white as you think. Statistics is not a fact. You can't say that a statistic is a fact. A statistic is simply just numbers compiled in a data set. That's all it is. As I stated, if you have 10 black clients and all 10 black clients give us their race as black, we know that 10 black women had an abortion for that day. If we have 10 white clients and only 2 of them report their race as white and the others do not report any race, we only know we have 2 white clients for that day. We don't know the other 8 what their race was. So you cannot say a statistic is a fact. As I said, I'm agreeing with you that there's a lot of problems within the black community. Abortion is one of them. I am completely against it. I do not vote Democrat. And one of the reasons is primarily because of that. Okay. So I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm saying is that we have to look at the statistics realistically and look at the numbers for what they are. They're just numbers. It doesn't necessarily mean that black women are in there 100 times more than white women doing this, having abortion. It just means that it's been reported more by black women. To me, that's not what we're saying.
Let me just ask one of this question. So do you think it has anything to do with use of birth control? Because compared to whites, blacks were less likely to use any contraceptive method, and blacks and Hispanics were less likely to use a highly or moderately effective method. Do you think like that has anything to do with it, or are those just wrong sample statistics?
So that is a big part of it as well, because I do know I'm a nurse as well, and I know that white people start their kids almost as soon as the girls reach puberty to put them on birth control.
Oh, they put them on that thing in their arm. What is it called, woman?
Yeah. There's multiple shots they can get in the arm. It's just a birth control shot. There's multiple kinds of them, but they do. A lot of them will claim that it's to help with acne. The claim is because they have
That's true.
polycystic PCOS, they start them on birth control very early. So that is part of the issue as well. Black women, maybe they don't do it as early, or they don't educate their girls as much about birth control, or maybe they don't think that their girls are going to be sexually active at the younger ages. I do know that white women, in my experience as a nurse, I see a lot of younger white females on birth control versus young Black females. So I will say that definitely is probably a part of it as well.
Hey, Dinus, can you pull up Afro Heaven? She's a medical professional. Can you see her Afro Heaven? And this is what I was just finna say to refute.
Where's who's Afro Heaven?
It's right above Leandre, Mystic Diamond, Afro Diamond. So it's probably 10 or 20 messages up.
Afro Heaven?
Afro Heaven.
Okay,
I said it's right above Mystic Diamond.
Here we go.
Can you read that for me, Dinus?
Yes, you are correct. Every race do not indicate race, but when I am doing final reports, I, as a professional, indicate the race that the procedure was done on.
Now, let me tell you why that's so important. My first baby mama, she did the intake, right? So this is what she would come home and tell me. She would come home and tell me is that no matter what they put on the form, she does the intake information. You get what I'm saying? She said that she would mark if they didn't put down anything, she would mark it down. Do you get what I'm saying? Before they filed it, they put it down. So it would be what the person put, but also they had to put it down. Now that might be the state of Georgia, not Dinah. You get what I'm saying? But I'm trying to tell you, that's why I was just waiting. When I was telling about Fitzgerald, I just wait and listen to the whole thing. Even the person even if you don't put down a race on your paper, the person behind the desk will still key in a certain information. They're not gonna change your paperwork, but they're gonna have to put some down because they have to send it to the state. No matter how Miss Woman is trying to church it up, the abortion is a state regulated medical procedure. And it has to be that the information has to be in, or they would close down that shop. They would close down that facility or put that facility out of business or fine it. It has to be put in. So it doesn't matter what the person put in. So I'm just telling you that my first one, she worked at the DeKalb Medical Center. Matter of fact, that's where I met her when I was on my mama's grave. I was trying to open up a can of corn and I can't cook, and I almost cut my finger off trying to open up a can of corn. And that's where I met her at the intake at the DeKalb Medical Center. And of course, I'm hustle smart, so the mat game is always good, even if I'm about to lose a finger. You know what I'm saying? But that's what she told me. She explained the whole process to me. So the thing about it is that regardless if the numbers is fudge, if it's off a point or two, Dinah, it's the point that the numbers we're still. How in the hell can we be 12%? How can we be 12% higher than women that outnumber? And the reason why, Dinus, and I hate to say this, no, I don't hate to say it, because Black women will go raw dog with you in the back of a Burger King when you just pay for her food in the drive-thru. Black men would go.
Listen, okay.
Hey, hold on, Dinus. I have seen it from myself. I have seen Black people fucking in the club, Dinus.
I mean, white. I've seen it too with white people.
What I'm talking about raw dog.
I was at the University of Georgia. I played football. You have no idea what went on with these snow bunnies.
Dinus, but the different. I'm not saying Dinus, I just said that the white girls go down there and bang everybody up. But see, the difference is that the white girls are on contraceptive. Now, that's the one thing I agree with Miss Woman about. They're on contraceptive at an early age. Black people don't even want to talk to their kids about sex. Most Dinus, I promise you that you could get everybody up here and you want to do a consensus of each Black person, Black parents that got kids over at 16 or over, and ask them did they have a conversation with them about sex and contraceptive. Did they show them how to properly put on a condom? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I literally sat my son down with a cucumber and showed him how to properly put the condom on. I showed him how to pinch the air at the top. I showed him not how to put it on. I got that Target credit card, bro. You know I still got it, right, Diners? I went to Target and got 6 different types and showed the different texture of them. You get what I'm saying? So it was real detailed about it. It's same thing with my daughter, because she's in college. And I gave my daughter this ultimatum. I told my daughter, if you come up pregnant, I just want to hear 2 things. I want to hear you and him finna get married, or y'all finna move in, or y'all finna get engaged, or we going to the abortion clinic. That's the only 2 conversations. Guidance. I'm just telling you what I told my daughter. I told her these are the only 2 conversations that I want to have. I told her that you're not gonna embarrass me by being a single mama out there. I said, and this is why I told her, Diners, because she talk about her own mom. Her own mom, my first baby mama, she got 3 kids by 3 different dudes. She talk about how she don't never want to be like that. She don't say she hates her mom, but she says she don't want to live like that, Diners. So I told her that if you don't want to live like that, then I'm going to hold you accountable. And she said, I take that challenge, Dad. So I told her that if you ever get in a situation like that, and it's not what it is, the only thing I want to hear is when are y'all going to get married? When is the engagement? When is the announcement? Are we going to what time we going to the abortion clinic?
Can I
I said,
respond?
because but hold on for a second, Miss Woman. This is the last point, I swear. And I told her the last thing I want to hear is you go against your own word that you swore to me. I didn't put that on her before she told me what she wanted. I made that deal with her because she told me that she always want my support. Really, she just want my credit card. That's really what she want. But I told her I'll support that dream because she take after me, Diners. She wants to have that go-getter spirit, and she wants to make good decisions the first time. She wants to learn from other people's mistakes. And I passed the mic.
All right, go ahead, woman. Then we're going to close out.
I wanted to respond to the person who said that they put in the race even if the person put it in. For my knowledge, that's illegal. Race information is always optional, and you cannot look at someone and tell their race. So it would be illegal for you to document in a medical record a person's race when they did not tell it to you. So I don't believe that to be true. As I said, I'm an RN myself, and so I know that information for a fact. Race information is optional. A person fills it out if they want to. If they don't want to, you cannot just guess their race by looking at them, because we all know that that's not possible. The second thing is about discussion about Black women and abortion. I'm not sure if Tutu is saying that he intends to add to those numbers by telling his daughter what he told her. But what we should be telling our young Black women is that you don't have to rush into a sexual relationship with every person that you meet. There's no point in doing that, because the reality is birth control can also fail. And when you're having sex, the possibility lies that you can't get pregnant. If we don't want those numbers to stay as they are, if we don't want those numbers to keep increasing, the correct conversation, at least the conversation I would give to my daughters is, you do not need to rush into sexual activity with people that you do not know, people that you do not intend to have a long life with. If you're just dating someone for fun, sex does not have to be a part of that. And I'll leave it at that.
I agree with that. One thing for you, Diners, I agree with that. But the thing about it is, I agree. I believe in abortions. I didn't say that I didn't. I never said once that I didn't believe in abortions. I believe in abortions too. You know what I'm saying? Because if your life ain't where you're at right now, believe me, I don't. In my lifetime, I probably don't pay for 6. You get what I'm saying? So I don't help those numbers. But that's the point that I was making. That is, have you ever noticed that when I talk about myself in the past, I talk about myself as being reckless? Do you get what I'm saying?
Right.
Have you ever noticed that? So I'm not saying that just because I'm talking about what is. I'm talking about I was a part of the recklessness. I'm just trying to tell you how it was so easy that I would meet a girl, Miss Woman, the same day, and she could be coming to my house, and I could be having sex with her raw dog and skeet up in her. And I'm gonna say this before Diners end the show, because a lot of people always think I say I'm against women, because I drag men the same, but that never gets no shine, right, Diners? But let me tell you something, men are stupid. I was stupid. You get what I'm saying? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you how dumb I was, Miss Woman. I would sit up there and skeet up in a woman 2 or 3 times, knowing that she ain't on birth control, knowing she ain't on no type of pill, knowing she ain't finna take no plan B, and have no intentions on getting her pregnant, Dinus. Now, how much sense do that make, Dinus?
All right, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and close out. Everyone, thanks so much for joining.
And I'm single. I'm single, ladies.
Everyone, thanks so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dinus Amir, search for Huru. Peace.